Very good evening, everybody. Nice to have you company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world of the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Welcome to Wednesday Night Motorsport. First time this season, I believe I'm right in saying it is, of course, week 10 of term 3. It is night 3 thereof, a big grand final week for us. We're on a little bit later than usual tonight, but instead of having an entree and a main course, we're sticking solely and strictly to said main course. This is the diet edition of Wednesday Night Motorsport for you, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome you to the Circuit de la Sarthe in Le Mans, France, for round 10 of the V8 Supercar Championship Series on these platforms. I'm Zach Caban. Grant Gill's here producing the broadcast for you. Aidan Schultz is jumping in to expert commentate for us as well this evening. We're delighted to be with you. It's great to be back on a Wednesday night. Maybe a sign of things to come. I'm not entirely sure. There is Pistol Pete Matson on screen at the moment running the Waste Options GSRC livery. And on that note, we should thank all the great people that make it possible for us to do what we do here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, because truth be told, without them, none of this is possible. They include Waste Options, Orbic Australia, Blackout Electrical Solutions, Login Systems, Astute Finance, also, of course, Fisher & Door Lawyers, and Flash Graphics. So a big thanks to all those people for getting involved and backing the club and making it possible for us to do what we do, and also the competitors to contest and compete across the servers in all the different categories that we make available to them, or we offer them up each and every season. Gilly, I'll get to you in just a moment because we can explain while we're an hour late here. But Schultzy, good evening to you. Supercars around Le Mans. It's got an interesting sort of vibe to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, good evening to you too, Zach. Good to be here in a little bit of a cameo tonight. But yeah, Le Mans in a supercar, something a little bit different. Definitely going to be a lot of drafting here down the long straights and into the tight chicane. So looking forward to bringing 90 minutes of action here for what is the penultimate round, rather, of the GSRC Supercar Series. So absolute pleasure to be in the booth with you tonight, mate.
Indeed, and it's the penultimate night of the term as well. Grant Gill tomorrow night, Daniel Correa-Sar and I are here from hopefully 7:25 Eastern to bring everybody the final round of the production cars, the Aston Martins around Mount Panorama, and then, of course, through the chicane, turn 1 and 2. Hopefully also the Porsche. Good to you, mate. Nice to have you on board, back in a cameo as producing and directing the broadcast for us. We've had you fill in for me on commentary a couple of times throughout the course of this season as well. Hard to believe we're at the end of the term. Nice that we've been able to offer up a Wednesday night broadcast for these blokes. Unfortunately, a little bit late off the line because we were meant to be bringing everybody the Formula Fords as well, but technology strikes again. Isn't it a wonderful thing when it works? Have we got you, Gilly?
Looks like he may be gone, Zach, but it looks like they're gridding up on the grid, so looks like we'll have to go through the grid and get going here.
We will indeed. Greg Favell and Stephen Banks on the front row. Peter Pavlovich and Damien Cross on the second. Jason Scholar and also, of course, James Catchpole on the third row. Dale Sharp, Shane Newman's the fourth row. Brett Bradbury and Marty Mitchell from 5. Only 2 Fords in the top 10. 8 Holdens in that top 10, the exceptions being Banks and Cross. Adam Lavis and Joe Baldwin from 6, Pete Matson and Adam Tice from 7, Justin Cotter and Nigel Patton from 8, Greg Spencer and Michael Ladder from 9. So just an 18-car field here tonight. Not enough to bank up around the corner there, coming onto the main straight. 90 minutes around here when you look at the clock. You're looking at 22 laps at the most around here tonight, given that we'll also have a few splashes and dashes along the way. That might, in fact, curtail it as a 21-lap race, but we think 22, 88 minutes gives you 22 laps, 4 minutes a lap. So, and of course, you've got that little bit of overtime to play with regards to the pit stops there. So let's wager on 22, but not be surprised if we get 21. Cars lining up on the grid here now. You will see a little bit of a discrepancy there telling you who's in the elite split and who's in the open split. We're starting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so sunset won't become a factor here. Clock is only moving in single time, so as fast as it would move in the real world. 2 o'clock French time would be 10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. 21 degrees, 40 on track, partly cloudy conditions. step for a start. Final round of the Supercars from the Circuit de la South. Let's go. Watch them fan out here up the main straight towards turn 1. Clean start, clean getaway. And as we rock and roll here, we'll note that the blue numbers here, the ones with the blue background are the elite split drivers, and the ones with the grey background are the development split drivers. Already a little bit of hip and shoulder there through the first chicane. But it's great for Noel that leads it down for the first one.
Yeah, and Shane Newens there and Brett Bradbury into each other a little bit through the first chicane. So good to see those guys get through a little bit unscathed there, or definitely unscathed. Pretty pedestrian like through the first couple of corners, just letting the tyres and the brakes get up again as they make their way around the last right-hander here onto the first of the long straight. So what I'm interested tonight to see, Zach, is this draft is going to be big. We did see a little bit of it in the practice that we were just observing. See how that goes as the race goes on. But two big long straights into two big, hard, heavy braking sections. So how the drivers are going to navigate that over the 90 minutes is going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, the brakes will get a bit of a workout here, no doubt about that. Also, an interesting talking point tonight will be tyre wear as well. Damien Cross off the road through the first of those chicanes. So we've already had one bite the dust. Is he driver's right or left? He's right. There he is, rejoining the circuit right now. And still the battle continues. Adam Lavis there at the moment. 7th place, got Joe Baldwin right up his clucker. The teammates working together down the Mulsanne. Greg Favell need only finish this race tonight and wins the championship, I do believe I'm right in saying, because his main combatant in this championship fight, that's the one thing we haven't done yet, is remind you of who's who in the zoo. Anthony Visma, not on the grid. No Anthony Visma tonight, so Greg Favell need only finish this championship ahead of Stephen Banks. He needs to beat Stephen Banks tonight, who is on the grid and running second at the moment, and he'll win the championship.
Yeah, Zach, you're exactly right. And a lot of points on the line tonight too. And you saw just there, as that's the amateur series points at the moment. Dale Sharp, 455. Looks like he's got this one tied up at the moment. He's currently sitting 5th on track. Greg Spencer in 2nd on 402 and 3rd, Marty Mitchell. So looks like the minors are, the top 3 are pretty much set, except Nigel Patton. If he can have a good one here, he might be able to come up and get a podium as well. So he's currently sitting back in the 18th position. He's down 2 on his starting position. So definitely still all to play here in the amateurs.
Indeed it is. How nice it would be to see our mate Dale Sharp, of course, wrap up a championship here. It'll be a testament to a season well done and well constructed and well put together. At the front, Favell and Banks have taken off. Look at the advantage these two have opened up already. The race is only 3 minutes old, and they're 4.3 seconds ahead of the competition. We're right on board with Stephen Banks. It's Holden against Ford on grand final night, just the way we like it.
They have absolutely bolted. 4.3 seconds up the road from Pavlovich, Scholar and Sharp. So good start by these two guys. And no surprise to see them doing that, Zach, either, because they're up the front of the championship for a reason. They're doing it again tonight. And
as you know, mate, championships are won not just on outright speed and results, but mainly consistency. So these two showing that they've been consistent performers across the course of the championship and set out and proved why with their qualifying pace here. The 0.76 leads the 0.77 as they come down towards the completion of the first lap.
Gentlemen,
yeah, most definitely.
Oh, hello, yes, Grant. Yes, better late than never in every sense of the word.
Well, yes, I thought, we'd just have a late start and then got later and later. But hello and welcome to Wednesday nights. Apologies to everyone out there. The computer started to get a little bit tired, so I restarted it, and it took about 35 minutes to restart. So we're here now, and we've got our V8s on for the final time for this season. We've just had Mark Horton have a little bingle, so let's have a look, see what happened there. I just locked up.
Oh dear.
What's that? What corner is that? I'm not good with.
We were already talking about brakes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's very tricky. You come around that off the long straight, and car's slightly unbalanced. You throw your brakes on, and if you've got your oh, that's not good.
Dale Sharp's on pit road, boys. Dale Sharp is on pit road. The championship leader here. Uh-oh.
Oh.
He's pulled up drivers left. and got on the tow rope. Don't tell me he's possibly sold himself short and taken a qualifying fuel run and not realised.
Well, let's...
Because that looks very, very bizarre for our development split leader. And I feel as though I might have inadvertently, and hopefully I haven't put the commentator's mocker curse on him, off the opener here. That was a bizarre run off the circuit for Adam Lavis as well. Sharp had a 53-point advantage coming into this round. He gets 51 of those back irrespective of what happens tonight, but he's got to be worried about Greg Spencer, and he's got to be worried about Marty Mitchell, Nigel Patton and Justin Cotter in behind him as well, because all those guys are mathematically still in the fight here.
Good battle.
Yeah, exactly right, Zach.
Boys,
sorry to cut you off there, mate.
Yeah, this is 7 through 10 or so, with Newens, Marty Mitchell in front, Newens, Maverick and Bradbury. Double-click the downshift and he blew it up. Oh, no, Dale.
Oh, no, not done. But that's looking really good for Greg Spencer, who was second in the amateur league or amateur series as well. So Greg's going to want to make his way forward and see how many points he can get. A lot of points on offer tonight, as we did discuss earlier on. So on board with Greg Spencer there. He's currently in the 16th position in a 27 My Private Seller backed car. So Greg will want to make his way forward. He'll see in his relative at the moment that Dale Sharp has had an issue, as has Mark Horton. But we did see earlier as well Adam Maverick running through the chicanes. The cars into the wall.
Yeah. Ooh. Still trying to get to grips with their brakes, and I think there's Joe involved in that one a little bit as well. Joe's in Bailey Ladder's car in the front of all that, trying to get it slowed down, didn't work. Yeah, this will be common throughout the course of the night, I should think.
Yeah, Zach, exactly what I mentioned at the early doors of the broadcast. We're still early anyway, but yes. Early in the broadcast, it was going to be very hard. The brake temps are going to get up under those high brake
hang on, guys. Brett Bradbury's had a moment. We'll find out why and what in just a moment, but he has dropped 2 spots. Shane Newens and Pete Manton have gone on by. This is how.
Pink car.
Just deep. Too deep into this corner. Oh, did well actually not to get into the rear of, I think that might have been Damien Cross there.
More good luck than good management, perhaps, but
100%.
Yeah, he's had about 4 or 5 events over the last little bit, and Joe's just had another one. So all of them trying to come to terms with this, and I just have a look at the weather.
Just well wide from Joe. Just lost the apex, and from there it was the passenger. Schultzy, back to you.
41 degree track temperature, so 2:10 in the afternoon. No wonder they're having troubles.
Yeah, no worries.
I should point out that that's European daylight time as well, just for, just need to clarify that.
Yeah, no worries. But I just wanted to reference, I did say early in the broadcast, like I said, about those heavy braking zones down the 2 long straights into the chicanes. I thought that was going to be an issue. The brake temps are going to get really high, and the brakes will probably get a little bit sloppy under those braking zones as the race does go on. But I'm having a look. Track temp up at 41 degrees at the moment. So track temp really, really high. These guys are struggling with grip, and they're going to struggle with grip as the race goes on. There's 90 minutes of this, and it looks like the track temp, if I put my teeth in, is going to continually rise. So interesting to see how it's going to happen, as Jason Scholar now looks like he has got the move made on Peter Pavlovich up into the 4th position. So the 2 teammates now, they're going to want to work together, albeit 11 seconds behind the leaders. But Greg Favell's now got 4 seconds or 5 seconds on Stephen Banks at the lead of the race as we focus on this little battle between the 2 teammates. So Jason Scholar and Peter Pavlovich starting from 5th and 3rd respectively on the grid, currently sitting in 3rd and 4th. So will they be able to drag in the 11 seconds? Another couple of things to think about, Zach and Grant, tonight. Long straights, there's time to be able to save fuel to possibly get that extra lap. And if you can do that, that's 1 less time through pit lane, depending on how many times they've got to go through with the fuel drop. that definitely could play a part too. So it's not necessarily about lap time at the moment. It's a very, very long race. It's about getting themselves in the pit window to be able to go to the end. So that's going to be something to watch as the race does go on.
In GSRC circles, Grant, that's what we call doing a dench.
Yes, indeed. But to save a full lap's worth of fuel around here, a 4-minute lap, you're going to have to be sipping on that. Even better than Denchi could, like Denchi on a fine whiskey. Just bring to your attention the
whiskey at the moment.
The lap times for Vel, only man in the threes, and 3:57.92 last time round, which was 4 seconds better than Stephen Banks at Leeds, just growing and growing and growing. But a couple of good battles, as we can see by our colour codes on the timing there. If you're red, you're within half a second of the car in front. If you're yellow or amber, you're half a second out to a second. So you can see where some of those gaps are. And Scholar and Pavlovic, they're just switching and swapping a little bit because Pavlovic's got back through on Scholar.
And I'll just digress there, sorry, Zach. I just need to jump in as we are on board with this battle for third and fourth. I'll just digress on that fuel thing because, yeah, you're exactly right. They can't save a full lap of fuel. But saving some fuel, it's going to make sure they're stationary less in pit lane.
Yeah, true.
Of course, that depends whether they take tyres, because that will probably counteract that. But if they wanted to take the risk and not take tyres, you could be making 10, 15 seconds up the road. So we'll see how we go. I'm no expert in the supercar, so I could be speaking absolute rubbish, but we'll see as the race goes on. But this battle for third and fourth at the moment between the teammates is definitely on.
Yeah, fuel will cover tyres in just about every instance. All four go on and off very, very quickly in these cars. But you're absolutely right about every litre that you can save is a portion of a second that you're not taking to go again. 90-minute race, every second here and there will help. But you just see that Pavlovic in front there is just squirming a bit. They're all just trying to find where those levels of adherence are and not spear off in the weeds. That's the club president chiming in there. Draft is giving some good racing, tyre wear and fuel. Everything will come into it, hopefully. Hopefully it will and make this a really interesting race. But out in front, Favel's doing a fantastic job. It looks like Pavlovic...
Good to have Vel Presidente actually watching on and keeping an eye on things. Keeping us in check, no doubt.
Yeah, and fantastic to have someone of the calibre of John as president, because we've been through a few, and he's been a big part of the club for a very long time, and we know he's got the best of the club at heart, and good man to have in there. Wonder if he's got his young mate alongside. It's probably getting a bit late. He used to sit up with his young son and watch us on the big screen. So I'm sure he'll pipe up in just a moment and let us know if that's the case or not. Might be too late for the young fella. Oh, Shane Newens is in a good battle with Justin Cotter.
Down they go, side by side, on the run down the Mulsanne to the first of the chicanes. Shane Newens is sporting a little bit of damage there. He's got Justin Cotter for company. And Newens wins the drag race, moves across, covers off Cotter.
Adam Tice.
What can Cotter do in response to the next chicane? Oh, Newens doing well to just gather that one up. He had a little bit of a bobble going into the first chicane. But now he's okay. Can Cotter get a draft, get a tow here down the slipstream-friendly Mulsanne? No is the answer at the moment. He can't actually draw any closer to Newens. So even without the rear wing, Newens has got some poke here.
The rear wing on these cars, when they when the rear wings do depart the car in these cars, they do get a very higher top end, obviously, because they've got less drag on the rear. But I tell you what, under braking, especially into those heavy braking zones through the chicanes, she's going to be a bit twitchy on the rear. But also looking after that rear tyre on exit is going to be really important. We did see earlier we were on board with Jason Sculler when he was battling Peter, his teammate. coming out of the corner. He got a lot of snap oversteer from getting on the accelerator way too quick. So that's going to be something to manage as well, because coming off the slower corners and getting that drive is going to be important to the long run pace here. So we'll see how that evolves, but on board with Adam Maverick now. So Adam up into 6th position. He started out at P11, so he's all over the back of Damien Cross in the 055 in 5th at the moment. So a great start here by Adam, Zach.
Absolutely it is. Sitting 6th at the moment, giving Damien Cross a real hurry up. The interesting thing for mine too, gentlemen, is have a look at the discrepancy in the lap times. No consistency. There's a 3:57 for Favell, followed by a 3:58, 3:59 for Stephen Banks. Everybody else well outside that 4-minute threshold at this point. No wonder the field has fanned out as quickly and as wide as it has done in the early stages here at the Circuit de la Sarthe.
Yeah, very interesting point there, Zach. I'm a bit surprised after what we saw through qualifying and the practice session that the times are actually that varied. So is that something to do... Oh, sorry, mate. That was a really interesting part there. Sorry to cut you off. But, yeah, I'll just quickly finish what I'm saying while we go back and have a look at this battle with Adam Maverick. We'll just keep one eye on that. But interesting to see what's going to happen with those lap times, whether it is to do with the fuel trying to go longer, I'm not sure, or whether that is actual pace. So the guys at the front have definitely bolted, but Zach, Adam Maverick all over the back of Damien Cross.
Yeah, can't say I'm surprised either. He's a good hustler, Adam Lavis, Grant Gill. We've known this for a long while.
He is. Crossy got past him on the long straight. He just drafted his way by. So Adam will be quite happy to do the dench and pick up a bit of a draft and maybe save that little bit of fuel. And, of course, we don't know how many laps worth of fuel they had to start. That's a mystery to us. So it might have been 8.7 laps or something like that. And if they just need to save that little bit to go that one step further.
Justin Cotter had a moment coming onto the main straight as well, boys. Was following Brett Bradbury for company, has now lost out. So let's have a look at this. Through they come. In fact, Bradbury's actually going to be the beneficiary of this off-track. Cotter's the car in the middle there.
Too much curb. And
Newens too much curb, and Cotter just clean missed it. So Bradbury the beneficiary of that, and Cotter left to play on his lonesome for a little while longer. Michael Ladder and Greg Spencer are also locked in duel for 15th. And this is what happened to Marty Mitchell down at the right-hander at the end of the Mulsanne. So already a few moments unfolding here. We hope we get some sort of interesting contest, quite frankly, or otherwise it could be a very long 90 minutes for those of us in the commentary booth. Greg Favell is the leader at the moment, 6 seconds to the good. Second is Stephen Banks, who's got 10 seconds on Peter Pavlovich. So Pavlovich is already 17 seconds behind Greg Favell. Here's Brett Bradbury down on the inside of Shane Newens. Can he get the job done? No, he bails out of it. He pulls out. He yields. Newens holds on to 12th for the moment.
And Shane
Newens on the exit.
They are on
That's going to help Bradbury. Watch Bradbury go to the inside. He'll be on the outside for the next corner, but he'll be happy to be in front of Newens. Halfway down this straight, Newens will try and fight back on the inside. Geez, it's got some straight line poke, that car of Newens, the Holden. It's Holden v Holden at the moment. They're chasing the forward of Nigel Patton. The next car in shot, bottom of screen there. Bradbury goes deep. Newens backs out of it this time. Bradbury gets the position, job done, up into 12th.
These boys are on the ragged edge. They are absolutely living by their wits. But I would bet London to a brick. Old mate Greg Favell out in front is just absolutely in conserve mode. He's got his 7-second lead over Banks. And he's just doing enough to stay in front of him. 3:58.76. That's a couple of seconds off his, or a second and a bit off his best. And Banks is about half a second behind that, and the other boys are all starting to drop down to about the 4 minutes. But I would say Greg Favell is in absolute cruise mode.
And Bradbury's just got the job done on Nigel Payton. Is Nigel going to have a go back at him as they're down the long straight here into the hard braking section? So Bradbury moving forward, and it looks like Newens wanting to poke the nose up the inside. Is he going to take 2 for 1 here into the braking zone with no rear wing? We're about to find out. 20 minutes in, you'd think we're about 90 minutes in on the last lap. But good move and good racing there. But it looks like Brett Bradbury, he holds the spot there. Shane Newens gets the spot on Nigel Payton. So Nigel Payton losing 2 spots through that little section of the racetrack.
Whoever Adam was dicing with, that seems to have split out. I can't remember who he was right with, but he's not far behind Damien Cross now. Pavlovic and Skula are still doing the team thing, so maybe there's some fuel saving going on there.
Now, what's interesting as well, fellas, is we're past the 20-minute mark. We're past the 5-lap mark. Here's the first of the pit stops, James Catchpole. Catchpole's coming in at the end of 5, but everyone ahead of him has gone for lap 6. Have they got enough juice in the tank to warrant that, or are we going to see a couple of people trip up here? Well, it's always interesting when you get to Le Mans. Different fuel tanks, different capacities, different cars, etc. I know when we were here with GT3, we had that argument about whether it be a 5-lap or a 6-lap car, or a 6-lap stint, rather. These guys, Greg Favell's leading us to 6 laps a stint. Will it be 6? Will it be 7? Time will tell. But whatever the case, if we're heading for 20 plus laps, 22, I reckon is the ballpark of where we're going. Then that would suggest to me that we're going to have to get to pit lane 3 times along the way here, if it's a 7-lap run, because 7 is 14 and 7 is 21. So that doesn't get you home. But it does fluctuate the critical lap number for a lot of these cars. If you get, the further you can stretch the stint out, the more flexibility you've got with that last pit stop and where you take it.
I'm going to throw a little bit of a side ball in here, gentlemen. Catchpole, we just saw come into the pits. You can see we're 20 minutes or nearly 22 minutes into the race. You do your maths, 20, 40, 60, 80, 120. You're going to fall about 10 minutes short. So is he coming in early to get out of everything, get that first? He's going to go full fuel all the way through until that final stop and do a short fill on the last one. Is this him playing his mathematics in reverse instead of running the full tank out? So I believe Catchpole may have done that. I could be wrong. I'll let you know in about, what have we got, 90 minutes time?
Yeah, yeah.
8 minutes time. Sorry, see, I can't do my maths. It might not work, but that's what I'm thinking. Catchpole might have done that, and he's seen that. So,
and that's a fair point, mate, because we wouldn't be any strangers to that, Grant. We've seen this rodeo 1,000 times before in our 60-minute races, in our 75-minute races, in our 90-minute races in GT3 or in Porsche GT3. We're not immune to that.
Adam Lavis.
Doing your numbers is half the fun.
It is indeed. Adam just a little bit deep there. Had to check it up on the out there, and Damien Cross has got by him. Adam will drop back in behind. Looking at on our tower there, I've popped up the pit stop stationary time, and James Catchpole was stationary 24.3, which is just a fraction longer than anyone else, all apart from Dale Sharp, who took 5.5 minutes to swap out the engine in that vehicle of his. But he's back out and in good shape in the points. He'll be hoping for some misfortune perhaps for some of the others. Not that that's the way he goes about things.
Looks like my theory of the reverse from James Catchpole may not be the correct theory, but still a lot of laps to go yet and a lot of time to figure that one out. But Adam Maverick, he'll be disappointed with that mistake, allowing Cross to get back up the inside of him. So Adam, expect him to range up onto the back of Damien here. They're doing very similar lap times.
Greg Favell's in, boys. Greg Favell is in the end of lap 6. There's the threshold.
And
so Stephen Banks follows him. Now watch Pavlovich and Scholar, boys. I want to watch Pavlovich and Scholar here, 3 and 4, because they're separated by a code of varnish. There they are. There they are. Into pit lane here. Who zigs, who zags, who's going to get the better run out of pit lane? Will that positional battle change hands in the next 15 seconds or so? Here he comes, Adam Lavis. They're both off the gas and into the lane. So the top 6 on pit road, and I suspect the next half dozen behind them will follow, given that everybody else beyond that has completed their first round of pit stops. Just the one retirement thus far. That was Mark Horton. Dale Sharp is unfortunately more than half a lap down on the back of blowing the engine up and sitting for 550 in pit lane. So Sharp's dash done for the night. He can still grab some points, but it's going to be touch and go now as to whether he wins the championship or not.
All taking tyres, all up on the air jacks, so they drop down and off they go.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Sharp. Hard start to the night. So is he going to get back out there? It looks like, well, he's going to be sitting there for a bit, but hard night for his championship as we're on board now with him now. So he is back out on track. He's going to try and get as many points as he can, but he's quite a few. What is he looking now? He's not actually lapped down on my relative or my timing at the moment. So that could be through the pit stops, but it's all going crazy on my live timing at the moment. But Dale Sharp won't be happy with that one, but he's still got another hour in behind the seat to be able to try and regain some points and see whether he can get that championship done. So we'll see. I did mention Greg Spencer. He's only gained one more spot since we last mentioned him in relation to the championship fight. So he's up into 15th position and not really making his way forward at the moment. He's still sitting there in 15th. So we'll just have to keep an eye on Greg Spencer. One guy to look out for, Peter Matson. He's up in the 9th spot now as well. So he's up 4 positions in the GSRC livery supercar there. So Pete Matson, he's had a good start to this one, up inside the top 10.
Yeah, good on Pete. He's when you talk about stalwarts of the club, he was absolutely one of the ones opening the door and turning the light on when the Gentleman Sim Racing Club first started, I think, with Joe Baldwin and Mr. Nichols and a couple more of them. But, they were the absolute instigators, and Pete's been on the committee forever and does a wonderful job at it. So big thanks to Pete, and he and I have had some cracking races the last couple of weeks since I brought my hiatus to an end and actually rejoined the world of sim racing. So he's a good man to race around. You know you're not going to get pummeled, and you have to work hard to keep him at bay as well. So good old Pete. Dale Sharp, he'll go a lap longer because he pitted on lap 2. So he would have filled it all the way to the top, and he'll get an extra lap out of it, and he'll be looking to just catch up to ladder first. And if I switch us back over to the interval, we can see the distance between him and the chap in front, 40 seconds near as damn it, and ladder was stopped on lap 5. So good battle still going with Cross and Maverick. And Pavlovic and Scholar are just playing team games a little bit further up the road.
Well, Zach, over to you, mate. Nearly half an hour into an hour and a half of racing here at Le Mans. Give us your take on how it started so far. Obviously, we're a little bit pedestrian. The guys have spread out a little bit, and this is what happens in endurance races. There's a lot of strategy and stuff involved. What are your thoughts? Obviously, Dale Sharp, not the best start to the
Matson.
Just the commentator curse on Peter Matson.
Wouldn't be the first time Grant's done that.
It wasn't my fault. We weren't even looking at him at the time. We did say nice things about him. Look at him just trying to get it stopped.
Oh, no.
But thank goodness for those
He's
new
too busy
traps.
watching the broadcast, boy. He's too busy watching the broadcast, and he missed his breaking point.
Brilliant. Firstly, not happy with all the gravel trap improvements because they've ruined one of the great traditions of sim racing, and that is the jump at Mount Panorama. But nevertheless, Greg Favell, look, very impressive from the outset from Greg Favell. He knew what he had to do tonight, and that was beat Stephen Banks. He's doing that at the moment. Nothing much to say about Pavlovich, Scholar, or Catchpole because they've kept their nose clean. They've had a relatively quiet and uneventful run. We've had a couple of good battles, Schultze, but yeah, for the most part, she has been processional. She has been pedestrian, but when you get a field of only 18 on a track this long, what more do you expect? Let's hope things liven up a little bit between now and the checkered flag, because obviously as we edge closer, 90 minutes, fatigue's going to become a factor for those blokes.
Oh,
Pete's off again.
Matto's
Pete's
off
having a
again.
shocker of a lap, and that was our fault because
Yeah.
we were riding on board with him that
Sorry,
time. Good on
Pete.
you, Grant.
Sorry, mate.
Driving
And you have to feel for Dale Sharp. We've all been caught out by the double downshift before, so he'll try and salvage what he can of the night, but he's not going to get back into it entirely unless he gets a safety car, which in a race track this long and a field this small, the chances of that happening are about as slim as the chance of me landing a girlfriend between now and Christmas. So, yeah.
Until you
On that note,
Never say never.
Rookie
good luck
question
with
for
Dale
you, though,
Sharp.
mate.
Yes, mate.
Rookie question for you, though. You mentioned safety car. It's an enduro, 90-minute enduro. I wouldn't suggest that there would be a chance to even have one.
Not with this.
So
number of
it's
cars
going to
on
go
the track.
90 minutes. Or do
I don't
they
think
have
we'll
the
have
option
one
to
here
manually
because
throw them?
we do have the option to manually deploy one, but only in the instance where the track's blocked or we've had a serious enough incident to warrant it. Obviously, you and I have both been involved in leagues where you're not allowed to just hit the escape button and get out of there. If you're in an incident, you have to manually request it and tow and whatever. But we don't have those rules here. If we did, that might change the ball game because Dale Sharp was parked on the side of the road when his engine blew up. That would have presented a safety car. We have had enduros at Mount Panorama, as Grant will attest, where we've had fields 40 deep and we've had crashes at the top or bottom of the mountain that have warranted just deploying the safety car to calm everybody down and just, keep a lid on it. I don't see that being an issue here. No, you're right.
MX-5's come to mind as well.
Newlands, sorry, boys. Newlands down the inside of Bradbury. That is a change for position. Newlands with a repaired car. Geez, that was quick. The old fast repair just coming in handy there for Shane Newlands. Back in front of Brett Bradbury now and into 9th place.
Yeah, the reason, as you said, there is a fast repair, but the reason Dale took 5.5 minutes was he had to jump to the pits. So he had a long tow before he could actually make use of that fast repair.
Not as long as it could have been.
No, best battle on the track right now is Brett Bradbury and Shane Newlands. And
I'm going at it, hammer and tong.
That's
for second in class as well, boys.
Yes, let's have a look back there and see where we are. So Newlands catch pole is yet to be. I don't know if catch pole is raced, and maybe he's yet to be declared. That's why his number is slightly different number to the others. But yeah, you can see where everyone is. And I was looking for Maverick in the. Oh, there's a touch. There's a bump.
Oh no.
Oh, they've got out of that pretty well considering. I was expecting to see Lavis in the Dev League, but he's way up there playing with the big boys and just sitting up lazy fourth places in 7th place, running about 14 seconds ahead of Joe Baldwin and about 1.2 seconds behind James Catchpole.
Back we go to Adam Lavis in the meantime, boys, in 7th place here, 6th place in split. Now, it's important to note that on the top left-hand side of your screen there, Schultzy, the discrepancy between the two splits is that we'll have the top flight, the top split, boys, the elite split, I think we call them in Supercars, with the blue background on their position number. The grey background is the development split competitors. The development split more fruitful, it's fair to say, than the elite split at the moment. Off track goes Adam Tice in the meanwhile as well, boys, down to 16th place as Greg Spencer goes on by. We've also got a very big discrepancy between Holden and Ford participants tonight, mate.
Yeah, most definitely at the moment. What do we got in the top 10? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Holdens and 4 Fords at the moment inside the top 10. So a little bit Holden dominant in the top 10 at the moment. Adam Maverick we're on board with there. But as you said, yeah, the elite guys sort of gone. It's definitely still on for the Dev guys. I did say earlier Greg Spencer's one to look out for and Dale Sharp with that incident earlier. So a lot to play out for still with the Dev guys. Catchpole has done well tonight as well, just up the road here from Maverick. So he's the leader of the Dev drivers at the moment. There we are. We're on board with him now in the Shenanigans car. So he's in 6th place and right behind Damien Cross there by the looks of it, trying to get up into a top 5 position. So Catchpole driving really well tonight, albeit we're only 35 minutes into 1.5 hours. Catchpole doing really, really well. He started 6th, so he's not up on his position at the moment. It looks like he's about to try and get that job done, but just sitting in the draft. You can see that draft there, trying to use that fuel. He could have made the move there. So that's a little bit of a fuel strat there by Catchpole, not trying to make the move on cross there into the braking zone.
Not wrong, not wrong. Here's a replay for you. This is what happened to Adam Tice. Well done on picking this one up, Grant Gill. At typical trademark 101 Le Mans, bang, into the wall. 9 times out of 10, if you're going to see an incident, it's going to be that particular corner as everybody's getting off the accelerator and getting onto the brake for that slower, or technically slower, back end of the lap. Back to your point, Schultz. Yeah, it's interesting the tactics at play here. You're watching Catchpole at the moment, all over the back of Cross. He's just letting Cross do the heavy lifting here. Just sucking in the big ones, hoping that he'll save a little bit of juice. Let you do the heavy lifting. I'll pull along. I'll reap the benefits. Will it be a lap worth of benefits to get an extra advantage in the pit strat? Don't think so. Not here, not on this circuit. But look who's ranging up there as well. Have a look at Adam Lavis now. All of a sudden, a three-way fight on the racetrack. Down through the kink into the right-hander. On the brakes, the three of them, line astern we go. Watch Adam Lavis here with the dark horse here. He'll want to get by. He'll want to get by Catchpole and wedge himself in between Cross and Catchpole here, I'd imagine, for the same reason that Catchpole doesn't want Cross to lead the way. I was happy to let Cross lead the way. In fact, tactical from Catchpole, and that's fair too. And the reason why I say that, hang on. Yeah, no, he's back up to speed. That's okay. Tactical from Catchpole. He's happy to, sit there and let Cross do the heavy lifting. But the other important element here, and I probably should digress on this and elaborate, is that they're not in the same split. They're not in the same race. Catchpole's the leader of the development split at the moment, and he has a fairly handy advantage of about half a minute over Brett Bradbury, his next nearest on-track opponent. So he has no need, no desire to get embroiled in a fight with these guys because they're not in the same. They are in the same race, but they're not, technically speaking.
We know what you mean. But I was looking.
It's nice to make sense to someone.
Yes, it's 2 races within the one race. They're all in the one race, but they're each in their own race, is what you're trying to say, if that makes it any more muddy. But what was interesting is they were into the chicanes on that main long straight. The driver in front, Cross, was tapping out a little semaphore message on his brakes as he was just trying to get the nose to bite a little bit, to get himself around and manage the speed. Just a little check tap on the brakes to just balance the car up. And looks like Lavis is on a bit of a charge now. He's all over the back, and Cross might do well to do exactly what Catchpole did and just step out of the way for a moment. Because we know
just want to point out as well, boys.
Go.
Sorry, Grant. Just want to point out as well, I don't normally get to go around the grounds on a Wednesday night. I do this week because at 10 o'clock, the top of the hour, Australia's Davis Cup campaign gets underway in Great Britain. So more on that a little bit later on. Adam, yes,
Buffalo
if
girl.
you don't mind, that's not supposed to be how you do that, Adam. That is not supposed to be how you do that.
He'll take it. He will take it.
But then again, we're all like, that's a Formula V or a Hyundai XL type move that he's just pulled off at a supercar, Grant. Like, look at that. That was commitment plus.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't mind, for all the fuel saving he can do, he doesn't mind leading from the front here. He's made that intention well clear now by slotting himself up into the top 5.
Yeah, Ollie, he must have finished his dinner or something, because all of a sudden he's absolutely jumped onto it. He must have been doing the points for the Formula Fords or something like that, which unfortunately we didn't get to see. But that last time round, he was 1.8 seconds faster than Cross. So is it any wonder he's been able to get by and do a good job of it? And having said that, have a look at the 2 boys up the front, just moseying. Maybe we should have a look at Greg Favell. So his sponsors actually get a look in tonight. But 3:59.033, 3:59.624. They're just ticking away just under the 4-minute mark. 10 second lead. And there's his mate Banksy up just came around the corner, and he'll be in the same shot in just a moment if he hurries up a bit.
Indeed, he will be. At 9.4 seconds the margin for Vellenbanks. Pavlovich has now got 7 seconds on Scholar. There has been an off-track moment there for Peter Pavlovich, actually, but it didn't cost him anything in the way of track position. Such was the advantage he had on Scholar in the first place. Cross, Lavis and Catchpole. Catchpole trying to stay with these blokes, but slowly but surely losing a little bit of ground. He'll be okay as long as he stays in the slipstream, in the tow here. That will be his aim. That will be his intention at the moment. Geez, a little bit of SMSing potentially about to happen there as Lavis slots back into 6th spot. Damien Cross moves up into 5th now. These guys happy to just ebb and flow and take turns leading the way here. That's testament to the type of racing we've come to expect at Le Mans, given the amount of overtaking opportunities, given the slipstream. And Schultze, let's have a look at this incident. Shane Ewan's caught up for the second time tonight. He lost his rear end last time. Oh, they've both gone off. They've both gone deep. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Hold on back. I had a little bit of a disconnection issue as it looks like I've missed something.
Welcome back.
I was going to say, I thought something might have gone on because I heard the click in the earpiece. I actually thought we had a guest dropping in to say hello to us, Schultze, not that you were rejoining us, mate. Apologies for that. We managed to cover off okay without you, but it's good that you're back in the booth all the same. For Velbanks, Pavlovich, Scholar, Cross, Lavis and Catchpole, that three-way fight, it contains 5th and 6th in the elite split and the leader of the open split, the development split at the moment, in James Catchpole, who's having a good, hard, honest run here. We won't be too far away from seeing some pit stops either, gentlemen. We're at the end of lap 10. We're on lap 11 now for Greg Favell. Lap 6 was that threshold, that point for most people, that trigger, where they came into the pit lane last time round. So this lap and potentially one more for our leaders, and we should see them on pit road again, technically, mathematically speaking. Greg Favell just making it look easy though, Schultze.
Yeah, up the road, 11 seconds up the road, might I say, over Stephen Banks. So currently consistently lapping about a second quicker than Stephen Banks in second. So albeit only 41 minutes out of an hour and a half in, as this battle is still heating up here between Cross Maverick and Catchpole for the 5th, 6th and 7th position. Favell absolutely driving away up the road at the moment. So he's to lose. A long way to go as well. Pavlovich and Scholar, I'm just having a look at that. Looks like Pavlovich has got away from Scholar. He's 6 seconds up the road now as well. So these teammates, they were working together for the 3rd and 4th position. And Pavlovich has now got a 6-second gap. So earlier on, we thought they were sort of working together. They don't have that pleasure as Pavlovich makes a little bit of a run through there. You're meant to turn left and right. He'll get a slow down there, but no harm, no foul as he keeps going on. But they don't have the pleasure of working together now. So no fuel saving, no drafting, not being able to switch around. So that's not going to change up possibly the positions in this part, but from the individual drivers, from a strategy point of view, they don't have that pleasure anymore. So that'll be interesting to see. Damien Cross only 6 seconds behind Scholar as well. So don't write off Damien Cross. He might come back as well to be able to have something to possibly fight for a podium if he gets a bit of help with fuel. But we'll see. But it looks like Pavlovich is really struggling on the rear under brakes now in those heavy braking sections, gentlemen.
Yeah, not on his own there, but you can see Scholar had a scruffy lap 7 and a scruffy lap 8. So this is a sort of track you lose a little bit of rhythm, and it's very easy to take quite some time to get back and let the tyres settle down a bit. But yeah, that's how that's going. Let's have a look with regard to Damien Cross behind and see what he's doing. So you can see Cross there on lap 7 made up nearly 4 seconds and 3.5 seconds, and generally losing about 1.4 on certainly 6.9, but creeping into it, as you said, that's 6.6 seconds the gap at the moment.
Yeah, and it looked like there was a bit of a moment in behind by this little battle here. So Adam Maverick in behind Damien Cross and James Catchpole. Looked like Damien had a little bit of a brake lock-up. But these guys are working well together, and that gap is sort of stagnating at about that 6 seconds. So if they work together well, as we're about to go through the next pit stop phase, if they can get through pit lane and work together, they might be able to range up onto the back of the car in front. So we'll see how that happens. But yeah, still 6 seconds to get up to the back of Damien Cross, but anything can happen. But this battle, I tell you what, it hasn't stopped for 44 minutes.
Got my eyes on the clock here as well, boys. 44 and 36 as Greg Favell comes across the line now. 8, 9, 40. 44, 40 on the clock. So times that by 2, there's 89 minutes and 20 seconds and 44 seconds or 40 seconds thereabouts for a potential third pit stop in the piece. So it's going to be mighty tight as to whether we get 22 or 23. 3:50, 6, 6, 4, 5 for Greg Favell. Fastest lap of the race on lap 11. If you don't mind. Thanks for coming.
Nice low
Get
fuel.
that into your low.
He's leading out to 14 and a half seconds, gentlemen.
Nice low fuel.
Get that into your...
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, Grant. I was about to say the same thing, mate. Get that into your low fuel. Last lap before I come into pits, and I'm just going to pump out a 3:56 mid.
Yes.
Wow.
Full 5 seconds quicker. Scholars come into the pits. The others mostly have gone on. Catchpole's come into the pits, and he was slightly out of sequence with the other boys last time through, wasn't he?
Yeah, Zach, I've got a question for you here. That's actually really interesting. Scholar in pit lane, he didn't get to the end of lap 12. He didn't have the draft because he lost the draft to the guy in front.
Yep.
But our leader has gone 6 laps again. So what are they doing different on fuel here?
Well, I would hazard a guess that they know it's not going to be 24 laps, so they know it's not going to be 4 6-lap stints, Schultzy. So they would be hedging their bets and saying, look, if we go a lap earlier here, we can still do 6 and potentially 6 or 6 and 5, depending upon how it breaks down. Whether it's a 22 lap or a 23 lap, that's going to become clear as we edge closer to the finish line. And it's depending upon Greg Favell's pace, because if he gets back to the line at 89 minutes and 57 seconds, then he's going to drag this race out to 93 minutes or so. So Favell's the pace setter. Everyone will be aware of, they'll have that technology at their disposal that'll potentially tell them, yes, this is going to be a 22 or 23 lap race. We're technically minded here on the platforms, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. We go about our business in a different sort of caper and way. So they'll be looking at that saying, well, if we do a 5-lap stint here, we've got to do 2 6-lap stints to get home. We know we don't have to do 4 6-lap stints. So it's just a degree of variance and a little bit of gamesmanship, a little bit of tactical play creeping into the equation right here and now. It's interesting to see that the top 7 have continued on. Scholar is the first of those to have stopped twice, and Catchpole the second. And that's one from each split for you, ladies and gentlemen. But Matson, Newlands, Mitchell, so there's 8, 9, 10. 10 drivers are still out there on the racetrack, yet to complete that second stop. What is a little bit concerning, though, for the guys that are, well, Dale Sharp, we know for obvious reasons, he had to stop early in the piece, so he's out of sync, so he's going to have an extra invoice to pay. Adam Tice as well. He stopped twice, so the second one being on lap 8. Michael Ladder stopped on lap 10. Greg Spencer on lap 10. And Justin Cotter on lap 9. Those guys, there's a cloud of uncertainty around them, though, boys, as to whether they can do this on 3 stops or whether they've automatically given themselves a 4th one to complete, and how much that's going to hurt them in the greater scheme of things will become clearer in the lighter day. Shane Newlands with another crunch of the wall, not his first of the night.
Your point is very valid, Zach, what you were saying about working out 6 laps. And that's for those boys who aren't using up 99% of their driving brain like me, just keeping the car on the track. Your top guys will be doing all the mental arithmetic, making sure they've got enough milk in the fridge. They'll have all that stuff going on in the back of their heads, but your dev split guys don't have quite that available brain area, because they're just battling as hard as they can to stay on the track, if they're anything like me. But look at Lavis; he's just happy to sit right in the back of Cross, and maybe in the hope that Cross will make a little error. But I tell you what, it's great to have Adam on the coverage, on the broadcast, and doing a good job of it. But I tell you what,
don't jinx it, Grant.
There's an easier way to spend 90 minutes of your night than sitting within one car's length of the car in front. He must be loving it.
Here comes the flurry of pit stops, gentlemen. Favell and Banks on pit road. There's Favell already parked up. Banks is going to pull into his pit bay just as Favell leaves or thereabouts. There's not much in it. It's a big stop. It'll be tyres and fuel. There's no invoice for tyres here as well. We should remember that. It's a full fuel pit stop, so there's no invoice for tyres. Adam Lavis, that was mighty close.
That was more than mighty close. That was
uncomfortably close.
Pucker moment, yes. He'll have trouble getting out of that seat later on. I tell you what, his butt cheeks will be clenched so tight.
Hey boys, I don't need to call you out on the broadcast, but I'm a bit concerned here. Is it Adam Lavis or Adam Maverick in the car? Because
it's Adam Lavis, definitely Adam Lavis. So Schultze obviously is still getting to know some of our club members, and there'll be some of you at home asking the same question because we call it Adam Lavis, but it says Adam Maverick on the screen. Maverick's the nickname of the great man.
Yeah. Right.
Adam Lavis, as I've said many times before, is the master of the operation here as far as GSRC broadcasts are concerned. He's taught everybody else that does pick up the freight when he can't broadcast because he's going off racing, like Grant, like Sam Chapman, like Daniel Correa-Sarr. He's the man that's put all of the strings in the bow together, so to speak. But for whatever reason, he runs his nickname as his surname on iRacing. I'm not terribly sure what that's all about, but yes, we know him as Adam Lavis. And it's always entertaining when his brother Trent Lavis is in here as well.
He made myself look like an idiot for 50 minutes, but I tell you what, he's been driving like he's been on Top Gun, so we'll have to call him that. So he's been doing good. So I'll start calling him Adam Lavis for the next 40 minutes.
Whatever you're comfortable with, mate. But,
whatever works for you, absolutely. Brett Bradbury, Shane Ewans, Pete Matson, and Marty Mitchell in pit lane as well. Sorry, Grant.
These boys are right back together again, having played apart for a little while. They must have got sent to their rooms or something because they were disparate from one another. And Scola now has 10.8 seconds back to Damien Cross, so he's made a bit of ground through the pit stop phase. Favell out in front. I better put our intervals back up. Have we got those? Yes, we have. Right there. And you can see the track map, top right corner. That's really starting to spread out now. There's a big assortment of different areas of the track that the boys are on. And I remember, I think Adam was doing a broadcast. He said, "I keep thinking my track map's frozen, but then I remember it's Le Mans. The only other track that the cars move that slow around is the Green Hill." Yes, the Nordschleife.
Just want to jump in here at this point as well, gentlemen. Let everybody know at half race distance or just beyond that now, 12.75 laps, 12 3/4 laps done for our race leader, Greg Favell, who is 17.6 seconds clear of Stephen Banks. Maximum points available tonight to the race winner is 120 for the race win, plus 2 for pole position and 1 for the fastest lap. There's 123, and then another 10 for 0 incidents. So that would be 133 points. That would be the maximum available to anyone that wins the race tonight. And beyond that, if you were to gain the most positions tonight, you've got a bonus 5 points coming your way. But obviously, you can't win the race from pole position, take all those bonuses, and then get the most positions gained as well, because that's just technically, mathematically impossible. That will go to someone that started down the field. The biggest movers so far, Adam Lavis and Joe Baldwin, up 4 spots each. No one's done any more damage beyond that. So they're both in the box seat to gain 5 points at the moment, but that will go to the person that finishes higher of the two, which at the moment would be Adam Lavis. And that 5 points could be all the difference for Lavis. But yeah, maximum 133 points on offer tonight. 108 for second, 96 for third, 88 for fourth, 82 for fifth place. then 4-point increments beyond that. So that'll be 78, 74, 70, etc., and so forth, all the way down to 18th place. Michael Ladder in pit lane at the moment in 18th, and we've still got all 18 cars that started still running. The difference here at the moment is that Greg Favell has now lapped Michael Ladder. Everybody else is still on the lead lap. Just going beyond that, for anyone that qualified 2nd through 10th tonight, they gained themselves a point as well. So 2 points for pole, but 1 point for every other qualifying position in the top 10. So there's how your mathematics breaks down tonight, gentlemen, as best as simple as I could explain it.
And speaking of the mathematics, can I just jump in here? And Grant, if you can just bring up the Elite Championship points again for the viewers, I just wanted to point something out. So Peter Pavlovich at the moment sitting in the 3rd position on the racetrack at the moment. You can see him there, 327 points. We don't have Anthony Visma tonight. We've got Banks and Vavell, no Vella as well. So currently where Pavlovich is sitting in the championship, if he finishes 3rd, depending drop rounds or everything, he could be playing himself into possibly getting into a top 3 within this championship. Maybe. It's going to be hard because of Vavell and Banks. I think Visma's got a little bit too much on him, to be honest, because that's 100 points for Pavlovich to be able to get over the top of him. But I tell you what, it's going to be close at the end of it.
It is indeed. But then you've got to remember that drop points may come into account as well. So maybe we can just duck back there again. Pete, hang on to it. Hang on to it, mate. He's having a great day. Oh, now Bradbury.
Oh, Brett. Hold on to it, son. Here we go. This is for position. It's Brett Bradbury. It's Pete Matson. 9th and 10th outright. 2nd and 3rd in class.
Pete's been closing him down. You can see by that graphic, the gap was out at 6.2 seconds just 4 laps ago. And apart from lap 12, where Bradbury made a little bit of ground on him, or Pete lost a little bit of ground on him, this has been coming down significantly. Justin Cotter's not having a good night, but I'm going to spare him only appearing on screen when he's having an off-track. Up front, we've got Catchpole and Cross. Lavis is back 9 seconds from Catchpole, so not sure what's happened there. I didn't see anything come up on the tracker, so Lavis has dropped a bundle of time there, good 9 seconds. But Dale Sharp, he's travelling along quite nicely now in 16th place and travelling about a second and a half faster than Greg Spencer, who's in front of him. But Catchpole's now quite an old header in the club. Was James one of our Formula V or Formula Ford drivers in real world? I'm not sure. Maybe not James. That was someone else. But he's doing a great job just sitting in there, taking every bit of draft he can, save every little drop of juice you can, as we discussed earlier. And I did want to say before when John Simpson chimed back up about the young fella's not with him, but the First Lady was sitting alongside, so we better mind our P's and Q's. She may well have gone to bed by now, gone, yeah, okay, I've seen what you do. I'm off, but if you're still with us, Mrs. Simpson, we won't call you Marge. That'd be terribly inappropriate. But Mrs. Simpson, welcome along, and we haven't been shared with your name, so great to have another avid viewer.
Look at Grant pulling out the comedy at 9:45 on a Wednesday night. 32 and a half minutes more of that, ladies and gentlemen, coming your way, and some racing as well, as we make our way through the back section on lap number 14 for Damien Cross and also James Catchpole, separated by a coat of varnish here as they make their way around. Greg Favell started his 15th lap, boys. That's important to note, Schulte, and he is still controlling this race perfectly at the front. 23 seconds to the good of his nearest opponent, Stephen Bank.
Yeah, exactly, Zach. It's to lose at the moment, 23 seconds up the road, and pretty similar gap between Banksy and Pavlovich there for 2nd and 3rd. But on board with Catchpole. I'm really impressed with James Catchpole tonight. He's the one I mentioned really early in the first, I'd say 10, 15 minutes of the race. He took a little bit of a different strategy with fuel. I don't know whether that was forced from the way he was driving, but he, excuse me, sorry. He's definitely got the pace. Up on the back of Damien Cross at the moment, he's sort of weathered the storm from Adam Lavers, and he's 14 seconds up the road. So Catchpole, one to look out for. As we have said, he is the leader of the or the development drivers rather, and quite a fair way up the road to his nearest competitor, and that would be Brett Bradbury sitting back in the 9th position. So Catchpole, can he get up into 5th and have a top 5 finish tonight? We're about to find out in the next 30 minutes or so. But he's been driving really well tonight, very impressed, and he's got pace. And I think he's got pace over Damien Cross. If I have a look at best lap times and last lap times, he was 0.3 of a second quicker than Damien last time, obviously sitting in a draft. But wow, look at that for camera work. We went right inside the car.
You wouldn't want any netcode on that, would you?
No, you wouldn't. You'd be in the bed.
Hope he sought consent before he did that.
But
Yes,
no,
past 7:30 Western time, you can get away with that sort of humour. Grant, continue on, Aiden.
Yeah, but Catchpole doing really good at the moment. He's got a little bit to gain back, I think, with the fuel strat, maybe, because he's been pitting. He pit a lap earlier in the first pit stop. He obviously had the help with the draft with Adam Lavers, and I think it might have been Damien in that second sort of little stint there. Yes. So he's gained a little bit back, but he's definitely got the pace in that Shenanigans car. So keep an eye out for Catchpole and see whether he can get a top 5 in this race. It's definitely looking like he possibly could, but we've still got 30 minutes to go, and I'm sure Damien Cross, being an elite driver, is not going to give it up easy.
Greg Favell, just out of interest, gentlemen, lapping it within half a second of his best lap of the race. Last lap round 3:57.16. And Stephen Banks was a 3:59.63, so 2.5 seconds the difference, and that leads out to 22.65. So Favell just on a Sunday drive around the beautiful area of Mulsanne, and doing a very, very good job of it. Nguyen's and Bradbury still at it. These two, they'll get out of the sim a little bit sweaty and lighter on. Oh, Bradbury! Oh no!
We got the
I've
big
done
one!
it! I've done it!
Oh no!
Oh,
Bradbury and also,
Newlands.
of course, Shane Newlands. And Newlands has been in the wars
sorry,
on
boys.
2 occasions already tonight, but this one could well be the end of the road. It was Newlands who got Taylor. It was Newlands who got wobbly. The rejoin not great across the curbs, and then Bradbury got loose on the wide side, on the far side of the exit of the chicane there, and unfortunately Newlands had nowhere to go. For Newlands, his 3rd major incident tonight. The first 2 were isolated singular incidents, but this one, bang, the first big crash we've seen all night.
Yeah, that's either the biggest netcode you have ever seen, or Bradbury was just a bit distracted because he's going on. He's probably looked across to his side. He's just lit it up a little bit. Just wandered
the marbles.
Yeah. Oh.
Hit the marbles, but also it looked like as well, boys, not only did he hit the marbles, but it looked like he might have hit a bump in the road there as well, which unsettled him. So, very strange incident. Brett Bradbury unlucky. Shane Newlands even more so.
And Dale Sharp
Yeah,
moves up
unlucky
the
for
field
both
a little bit
drivers.
more.
Yeah, Dale Sharp is coming back up the field, which is good. But I tell you who else this is good for is Greg Spencer. So he's currently now up into 12th position in the race. He was sitting 15th, 16th most of the race, inside the top 3 in the development championship. So, Greg, as we nearly put the commentator's curse on him again, but Greg doing a good job, just slowly navigating his way up the field. He's up into 5th spot 5 spots at the moment from where he started. And in the development drivers at the moment, he is sitting in the for 5th position. So solid drive by Greg and being able to close out the championship, but on board now with Dale Sharp back in the 16th position as he misses his braking point there. Oh, sorry, on the replay, sorry.
Yep. And I think it was mentioned far earlier in the broadcast, but fatigue will certainly start to play a role here. 90 minutes in these things, right on the bleeding edge of control. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a whole bunch more little big moments going on. So Pavlovic and Skula are having a grand old time of it. Pavlovic goes by under the draft, and Skula will probably pick him up on the other side of the, or maybe just side draft takes over and he just gets back by. But you're talking about the wing as well on Ewan's car. These guys would have absolute minimum wing on these things to make as much advantage of their long straights that they've got. So that wouldn't have made a huge difference, but it is one of the shortcomings of iRacing that you lose a wing and you would think it would be the end of the world, but somehow these cars just continue on with barely a change in draft qualities or aero. So that was a good long run between the two teammates there.
Unsurprisingly, Shane Newans has come to pit lane again as well, boys. With the damage sustained in that incident with Brett Bradbury. Greg Spencer also in and back out again. But anyone pitting this early, I feel as though they've got another pit stop in them just yet. Given how much time we got left on the clock here, 25 minutes. And there's the end of lap 16 for Greg Favell now. So yeah, as we edge closer, just remembering, that's the start of lap 17 now. Pit lane transit time might be the only thing that gets this race home at 22 laps rather than 23.
Catchpole's got the job done on Cross, gentlemen. Catchpole's just got the job done.
And here's the replay of that.
A little bit of extra pressure. Cross just goes that little bit deeper trying to lock the spot.
The up and under.
Yeah, but beautifully done. And you know, we've seen...
Set him up and lured him into a trap.
Yeah, we've seen Catchpole's been perfectly happy just to sit in behind. And the moment he tried a little bit of a move, it must have caught Cross out of... a little bit unawares to think, what's he doing? He's supposed to sit behind me. But now it's Cross's turn to come back and work on the back of Catchpole.
And that was interesting as well because Scholar's all over the back of Pavlovich. Cross is now back on Catchpole's tail there. Lavis is 7th. Baldwin is 8th. They're all spread out. Matson, Patton, etc. Cotter in 11th. Tyson Sharp are duking it out for 14th, but both of those have got another stop in them. And I'm just looking, anyone that stopped before lap 15, gone. They're going to have to stop a 4th time. Shane Newans and Brett Bradbury have been in pit lane for a foreseeable amount of time now. 2.5 minutes for Newans, 5.5 for Bradbury. Bradbury, of course, got on the tow rope, so by the looks of it, yeah. It's going to be a very long night at the office for those guys. If we get to 23 laps, 18 get you past that 75% threshold to get classified. And some of those guys will be just hoping for that at this point, I would imagine.
Yeah, most definitely. Getting into the window there for the final pit stop is going to be 100% for these guys. So trying to get that car into the window to be able to go to the end is going to be very, very important. So you're right, Zach. If you're outside of that window, you're a little bit stuck. It doesn't look like we're going to get a caution, so we'll see how we go. But these guys are back together now, Scholar and Pavlovich. So Scholar will be liking this as well. This is going to be helping him on fuel. I tell you what, Pavlovich will be hoping Favell or Banks sends it down the road to help him on his championship podium credentials, because that's looks like what he's going to need to be able to get up into the top 3. But this race between these two gentlemen, it was there early doors in the race, and it sort of segregated to 6 or 7 seconds between them through the mid phase of the race, and now it's sort of come back together. So with one pit stop to go by the looks of it by these two guys. Who out of the teammates are going to get the elbows out, and are they going to race to the end? Of course they will, as we're 22 minutes to go. We'll see how that goes, but it's been a good race, guys. Of course, been a bit pedestrian at the front. Pavel 27 seconds up the road, and then a further 36 seconds back to this battle you see on your screen between Peter Pavlovich and Jason Scholar. But I'll tell you what, there's been some good racing in the minors.
Yep, and thankfully that's made sure that we're able to keep things up vibe and interesting, as Billy Birmingham once said. It has certainly livened things up in a way that the front end of town certainly hasn't done tonight. Down on the inside, Scholar for third. Scholar for third on Pavlovich. There's a move that's been working and looming for a while. Scholar goes to third. Whoa! Big moment on the exit. And fourth. He's given the position straight back to Pavlovich. He got it crossed up. He had to save it. And now Pavlovich is in defensive mode. Finally, something exciting and life-affirming at the top end of town to get excited about, ladies and gentlemen. Holden v. Holden, teammate v. teammate, Pavlovich v. Scholar, as they stretch the legs once more on the back section of the Circuit de la Sarthe. And Pavlovich knows that he's got to hit every marker here or Scholar will pounce again. Scholar needs to be mindful that when he gets by, he's got to consolidate it and not cough it back up again. Tice is in pit lane now as well, gentlemen. We're at the end of lap 17. We're on lap 18. Greg Favell still lapping in the 357s. Leads by 27.5 seconds. It's 36 seconds then back to this battle. And it looks like being the battle to keep an eye on for the rest of the motor race. James Catchpole has Damien Cross for company. That is fifth place outright. And, here we go.
Not.
Oh, difference of strategy. Here we go. Oh, this is interesting.
Now, it's very interesting because this is exactly what we were talking about, gentlemen, that potential for a little bit, and I stress a little bit, of variance in strategy in that third pit stop. For all those guys that pitted on lap 12, it's either going to be 17 or 18 to get them home. 17 if you want to make the last stint a little bit longer, and 18 if you want to make the last stint a little bit shorter. So Peter Pavlovich plays on for another lap without a teammate, without a dance partner. He goes it alone, and Scholar will do the same on the outlap. Off goes Adam Tice at turn one.
Unfortunate there for Adam, but we saw that, who was it? Sorry, we saw that Catchpole came in pit lane as well. So I think through that section of the race, the guys that were at the lead of their little battles, they used that little bit of extra fuel. So we're seeing a little bit of a difference of strategy there of not being able to get to, obviously they're both going to be, all of them are going to be able to get to the end from this point in the motor race, but that's the difference. But if someone's in a draft here, which it didn't look like anyone would be because they've left each other out, that would have helped. But it's going to be interesting once we go through the cycle of green flag pit stops. So when Favell, Banks, Pavlovich and Cross come through, where they actually fall into the field and whether they join up again and regain or retain this battle, and we go battling again for the last 18 minutes of this motor race.
It's these longer races are often very much like a basketball game, aren't they? They duck and dive. They score a few points here and there. They set themselves up for the last 2 minutes and all. Oh no, Peter. It all goes to muck for some of them. But here's Pete. I reckon his tyres are getting a bit tired. Is this on entry to pits? No,
it's turn one, turn two.
Hang on it. Oh.
Maddo went off in exactly the same area as Adam Tice.
Just locking those rears under entry, so very easy to do, especially in a high-speed braking zone. So, and a change of direction too. So, unfortunately for Pete, he's been having a good night all night, but I don't think that'll ruin his night. But a little bit of an incident there.
Keep an eye out too, boys. Yeah. This should be the pit lap for Greg Favell, Stephen Banks, Peter Pavlovich, Damien Cross, Jason Scholar, James Catchpole, Adam Lavis, Pete Matson and Joe Baldwin. This should be the lap that all 9 of them make their way to pit lane. Actually, no. Adam Lavis, Joe Baldwin, Jason Scholar, they'll be right because they stopped on 17. The other 6 will be in this lap round, and that will cleanse the field. So Favell should be the first of those. There he goes, right on cue.
Yeah, the thing to think about with these V8s is you really need to be working your brake bias and your front and rear roll bars during the course of a stint, because they really affect how the car handles. And once the weight comes out and the tyres get a little bit tired, you can tweak those. And the good guys will be playing with those all the time as they go along. But for the mere mortals of us who forget to do that until they get to the pit stop and go, oh, I should have done that, then you find a car that starts to misbehave more and more, and that's where you'll find your Favels and your Bankses and your Pavloviches doing the fastest lap of the stint right on the end with really, really worn tyres but really low fuel. Banks.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Grant.
Yeah,
exactly right. They do change as the fuel does drop off, the way that the brake application works, the way that the car pivots under brakes. Of course, being lighter, from me being a novice in the supercar, but having a lot of knowledge in the real world racing, you can get really light in the rear, not applying more rear brake or less rear brake, or being able to change your anti-roll bars on the front and rear, making it softer and harder. All those things do make a difference, as you mentioned, as Damien Cross now makes his way into pit lane. So for all the viewers out there, it's not as simple as just jumping in, turning left and right and changing some gears. There's a lot of things that these drivers are thinking about as they're going around the track. So if you put that into perspective, nearly now 1 hour and 15 minutes in behind the wheel in the cockpit, they would be absolutely exhausted.
And you two are in a better position than me to talk about this as well, because you've got your fair share of versatile race experience between you. But it's not just what goes into the preparation of the race itself and watching the race play out, I should say. It's the time spent in the lead up to race day. So it all takes a toll.
Oh, absolutely. Setting up the car to start with, and having a good idea of what sort of weather you're going to be, or what sort of track temperatures. Track is still hot at 39 degrees at 3:17 in the afternoon. But
lovely time of the day.
You can set up how the car reacts to curb strikes with your fast and slow dampers. You can set up, you soften off the front roll bar to get a little bit more bite out of the tyres, and it's these complexities that that really what makes it interesting. It's not just PlayStation where you just plug in and off you go and hammer down and do everything you can as fast as you can. There is real strategy to it in your fuel burns, in your pit stops, and also some drivers set the car up differently to be better under an older set of tyres and lighter fuel than it will at the start of a stint, knowing that they can make time up against another car who's set it up slightly differently. So a hell of a lot of strategy, and look at Favel. He's just millimetre perfect as he goes through there, just brushes up against the sand and gravel, kitty litter, and goes on about his way. But it's one of the fascinations of iRacing, the complexity that they have built into it. One day rain will come, but so will Christmas.
I might be dead.
But yeah,
and the further you point there, it comes down to different driving styles as well, the way they apply their brake applications. You mentioned, soften the front dampener, get more bite. Obviously, that's good, but over a period of a stint, obviously, that's going to detriment the front of the car and not allow it to rotate as well. So finding that happy medium to be able to be fast and be able to do it consistently and change that on the run is definitely the middle factor. And this is why these guys are so much quicker than me, because I've got no idea. I can talk about it theory, but doing it in a race. But everyone's got a different driving style too, and how they apply their brake applications. The initial steering input is definitely very important in a car like this as well. You don't want to be too aggressive. You want to allow the car to flow. Change of direction also is a big thing as well. These are, like, as they say in the real world, 1.5 tons a race car, as you remember the whole Larko Bathurst intro. They're a very heavy car with a lot of horsepower, and change of direction, the car does roll, and a lot of body roll. So being to minimise those inputs and try and limit the pressure on the tyres, as opposed to trying to measure that with the changes you're doing at the same time. There's definitely a lot going on. So there's your technical side for me with 13 or 12 minutes to go, boys.
Yeah, and to Zach's point of setting something up like
Yes,
this,
mate.
it's also the fact of knowing how many clicks of that front bar or rear bar or your brake bias you want to do. They're not just doing it. Oh, I'll throw 4 clicks of brake bias in here and see how it works. They'll have done their practice with different fuel loads and different tyre conditions, and they'll know that they only want to go 2 here or 1 there, and so much setup time and intuition and feel that brings these cars and drivers to be as good as they bloody are.
Absolutely. And it's not just a 90-minute race either, ladies and gentlemen. These guys had a practice and qualifying server up as part of this event. So it's been a long night, a long, tough slog at the office behind the cockpit, or in the cockpit for these guys behind the wheel of their respective sim rigs. And some of those sim rigs are very, very impressive setups. Don't let me get in the way of, making light of the situation. Some of the work that goes into the setup of the rig itself is mightily impressive. Greg Favell leads this one. He's on lap 20. Stephen Banks, Peter Pavlovich, Jason Scholar. Now, I'm just going to keep an eye on this too, boys. When Favell gets back to the line, I want to see where that clock is, because if it's just this side of an hour and 22, he'll take us, by virtue of his speed being sub 4 minutes, he'll take us to 23 laps. But if it's the other side of an hour and 22, he will get a white flag at the end of the 21st lap, and we'll start lap 22 on the run home. And the reason why I'm looking at that now with a bit more curiosity is because the transit time and the pit time and the last lap time combined for a 4:43.972. So that to me says that it's going to be very much touch and go as to whether Favell takes us to 23 or we end at 22. And the only way to keep across that is by watching Favell this time round come across the start-finish line.
Dale Sharp's just made another spot past
It's touch and go.
Cotter. Where's he up to? He's still just on the back straight, so we'll get back to that.
And he'll be okay to get to the finish line as well, Grant, because he actually he's completed that 4th stop on lap 17. He'll be okay to get to the end. He's got back to 12th, which is an incredible recovery. But I think part of the thing that's helped him is that there's been a few on the 4-stop strategy as well, be it for damage, be it for whatever reason. There's been a few that have adopted a 4-stop strategy, which hasn't been a winning one tonight. It's just the way they've gone about it.
Yeah, some of those will have been due to the fact that the car's been unserviceable, if you will, been into a wall or locked up and done some damage. As Dale Sharp only too well knows, just in a moment of weakness, flicked the downshift twice and blew the engine. There's another touch of reality for iRacing. And we've seen that in all sorts of cases. I remember my battle with, what was the fellow's name, in the Skip Barbers around Bathurst, and he did the double downshift and gave me the up-and-comers championship. Well, he didn't give it to me. He was unable to pursue me further in the up-and-comers championship. But it's all stuff you just got to be knowledgeable of and aware of.
Yeah. Keeping an eye on Greg Favell. Here he comes. I think
Going to beat him to the line, I think, here, mate.
the 1 hour 22 marker might be in trouble here. Let's go round onto the main straight. 1:25, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. There's the line there. I tell you what, he is going to get us to 23. And you know why? His lap time is 3:57.941. If he maintains that, he gets back to the line around that 1:26 marker. He gets back to the line around the 1:29.55 marker. I reckon Greg Favell takes us to 23 laps, much to the delight of anyone hoping for an early finish. And I want you to note the sarcasm intended on that one, ladies and gentlemen. There'll be some people filthy about that, particularly if you stopped around lap 16 like Adam Tice did. The only thing that'll work in Tice's favour there is that he's already a lap down, so he could get home having stopped on 16. Brett Bradbury's got out there. He's 2 laps down, and he stopped on lap 15. He should be okay as well, but he's off track again now as well. Shane Newens is 3 laps down. He should be okay to get the line, but I tell you what, Jason Scholar, James Catchpole, Adam Lavis, Joe Baldwin, Nigel Patton, all stopped on 17. They'll be looking at that a little bit of trepidation. But Greg Spencer definitely, because he stopped. He's on the lead lap, but he stopped on lap 15. He's in a world of trouble. He's in a world of trouble.
Speaking of catchpole, gentlemen, closest battle on track is between himself and Damien Cross at the moment, I believe. So, I know it's not, sorry.
There's nothing lighting up yellow or red on our monitor.
No,
Yellow or
I
orange.
got that wrong. My live timing is having a heart attack, so I do
That's all right.
apologise.
Yours and mine both, mate. That's okay. Big night of sport. If you're just joining us, make sure you tune in to Nine's Wide World of Sports once we're done here. And Todd Woodbridge, Yelena Dockage standing by to take you right through the night with the first of Australia's Davis Cup ties against Great Britain from Manchester in England. The old foes of world sport, Australia against Great Britain, to get us underway. And yes, Alex Demonor's lining up. Matty Abden's lining up in the doubles as well. Big night of sport on the Wide World of Sports, and they back up and do it again tomorrow night and then on Saturday night as well. Win the pool there or finish second in the pool there, and they'll go to the Davis Cup finals in November. So a lot at stake there for the runner-up of last year's Davis Cup Australia, and it all gets underway tonight. 5 1/4 minutes to go here. We're umming and ahhing. We're waiting to see if Barney's got that white flag. Well, firstly, is the prick doing his job? Is he standing on the platform on the start-finish straight to do his job and wave the bloody flag for starters? That's number one. Number two, whether he's got the white flag in hand this time by, or whether he's going to say to Greg Favell, look, you're going to get back before 1 minute, 1 hour and 30's up, so I'm going to give you the leeway to take us to an extra lap.
There is a Barney there.
Good.
He's just hanging
He's
out
not
at the
waving
moment.
anything. He's just keeping an eye on things.
Yeah,
Look, the one thing I want to see iRacing introduce at some point is a red flag.
Yes.
Because there have
I'd
been
agree there.
acts that would constitute a red flag on this platform in our broadcast in the past. So there's no reason why they shouldn't be thinking about, when they introduce the rain, them working on a red flag situation.
A red flag
tell you what,
and a fast
red-
forward to
red-
restart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Rather than could you imagine having to sit here and fill gentlemen through a virtual cleanup? No, thank you. No, thank you.
There could have been bloody 3 of them last night in the first 2 laps of the up-and-comers first race. It would have been sitting still for about 30 minutes trying to clean it up. But, yeah, it's...
Hang on.
Oh, no, hang on, Pete. Hang on. Bang.
Oh, bonnet's
Gone. And that might be Pete parked up for the night, is it? No, he soldiered on. Good on him. Right. Greg Favell. Oh, hang on. Now, can we go back to the start-finish line? Greg Favell has started what we think will be the last lap, what could be actually the penultimate lap. No, it's the penultimate lap. We are going to go to 23. Good on you, Greg Favell. Everybody else looking at Greg Favell thinking, did you really have to? You could have slowed down a little bit.
Greg
come down at 3:57
and take us well and truly into overtime.
Yeah, is
We'll be
90
3 and
minutes
a half
not long
minutes into
enough?
overtime here, boys. No, apparently not. All right, 3.5 minutes of overtime coming up for you. With don't worry about the clock. That's now not a factor here. It is not a factor because the white flag will go out with about 3 seconds on the clock. And Greg Favell will be the one that takes us to lap 23. And in the process, boys, he will take us to an emphatic victory and a statement-making victory that will see him crowned champion in the elite split of the Supercars this season on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And what a way to do it. What a way to just put the exclamation mark on his season and put the icing on the cake with the cherry on top.
Emphatic, one might say. And of course, we haven't seen any of the rest of the season, but Anthony Visma seems to have been very, very strong throughout the course of the season. Obviously, real world situation has made it impossible for him to perform, but it's going to be a very strong finish for Greg Favell.
And it's been an absolutely stellar drive from Greg tonight. He's been unheaded from pretty much start to finish. It was pretty close there between him and Banksy in second for the first couple of laps, but since then we've seen him slowly just edge out that gap at the front, and it's now way out to now over 30 seconds. So, but this is interesting.
Tightened up
a lap and a bit to go. Catchpole, my man I've been talking about all night, he was catching up the cross, so I was right with the relative. He was 1 point something seconds behind. 1 point something, that's a technical term, gentlemen. But now up to 0.6 behind, and this is for top 5. So James Catchpole been running well all night. He's actually caught Damien Cross at the back end of each stint, and he's doing the same again here. So 1 hour 28 minutes and nearly 1 hour 29 minutes rather into the race. He will have one more lap to try and get the job done if he does want to make a move over Damien to get the 5th place. Keep an eye on this little battle. It is Vavel, Banks, Pavlovich and Sculler will take out your top 4, albeit something going wrong here with just over a lap to go. But this little battle between Catchpole and Cross is the closest on the track, and it's the fight for the top 5.
So the basketball reference I made earlier, he's just been sitting there all night, just ticking over, just ticking the laps off, and all of a sudden he said, all right, now's the time to come and play. So look at that, half a second in that sector, half a second in the first sector. He's really closing this down, and Cross will do well not to find a little error in his driving, which we certainly hope he doesn't. They have to battle it all the way out. Oh, who's that?
That's Shane Newlands again. Oh, jeez, he's had a night to forget. No doubt about that.
Yeah. Greg Spencer's just had to drop in, and due to the extra lap. Thanks very much.
Thank
Greg.
you very much, Greg Favell. Yep. And Favell now takes the white flag and begins the run home. White flag is out at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Favell to the first corner. Holden on top at Le Mans. Only the 1 lap to go to get it done.
Oh, that's probably not Barney at
now
all.
No, it's not Barney at all. Barney, hang on, mate. Where's your white flag? What the hell are you doing?
Who is that?
He fell asleep.
Who is that?
Some random dude just watching VIP tickets.
Yeah, some celebrity.
Yeah, so if it's not Barney, it must be Fred.
All right, here we go. This is on for young and old now. We don't even have to look at the how the gap's going down.
I'm really glad that there's 2 gentlemen old enough in the booth to actually understand that reference. There'll be a lot of people at home thinking, "What the hell's this bloke smoking?"
Well, I can definitely tell you these boys haven't been driving with their feet underneath the car tonight. So
very good.
It would have been a lot longer night, but yeah, definitely not. But
1 lap instead of 23.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh dear. This is for top 5 outright, but James Catchpole has well and truly got his place on the top step of the podium in the development split locked up here. He is 1 minute and 45 seconds clear of Pete Matson, who's the next best in the development split. Running straight now. If we're riding on board here, do we see a white flag in any way? Which way? No, we don't. Okay, so what the hell's the prick doing? I don't know. Off to the first corner we go. Catchpole wants a top 5 outright. Catchpole to the inside of Cross, but he's on the outside for the left-hander. Can he hang it tough there around the outside to put himself on the inside of the next corner? No, he yields. He yields on the inside. Oh, and then he lights it up, if you don't mind.
Well, Catchpole's got 2 big long straights now to be able to make the move done, so keep an eye on Catchpole. 2 big long straights into 2 big heavy braking sections. So the battle for 5th on track, it's not over yet. Watch this draft, and I reckon the 0-2-1 of Catchpole, he is wanting to make a move here on Cross. So here they come onto the first big long straight, and watch this draft. Is Catchpole going to make a move early? Because if he does and gets it done into this braking section,
he's a sitting duck.
Don't you worry, Cross will be coming back having a go again, but he's not. He's going to push him down the straight. So he's playing a little bit of smarts here, but I tell you what, Catchpole is going to have a run at this before the end of the race.
He has to. He's got no choice. This is the last lap. This is the final chance. About a minute left for our race leader, Greg Favell, coming into the final sector of the lap now. 1 hour, 32 minutes gone. The 23rd and final lap at Le Mans. James Catchpole sits 6th. He doesn't want to throw away the win in the development split either, boys. He's got to be mindful of that. But a top 5 outright would have a nice little ring to it here, as he wraps up victory in the development split at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Again, very defensive from Cross on the inside.
He won't want to go past him till the back straight, surely.
I wouldn't imagine. I would not imagine.
He's just playing a few little games with him. Poor old Brett Bradbury. He's had a couple of little moments.
All 18 cars still in the server will get classified here, Grant, despite Brett Bradbury being on the tow rope and in pit lane because of that. Greg Favell, however, is making his way into the final sector. We need to get back to that. Favell's on his way home. He's got company there in the form of Nigel Patton, who is a lap down. The first of the competitors a lap down. But this has been clinical from Greg Favell. Championship-defining, championship-winning stuff at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Greg Favell, clinical and dominant to victory lane. From lights out to checkered flag, and he gets the job done, not just in the final round of the Supercars series, but also the championship as well. Stephen Banks second. Third will be Peter Pavlovich. Jason Scholar. Damien Cross. We need to get back to Cross because he's still got James. Oh, catch pole, nearly threw him away. These two will duke it out all the way to the checkered flag.
Who's going to get it, gentlemen? Catch pole. He's not going to leave anything on the line.
Oh, you can't
as we're already doing, Banksy's doing donuts before he gets across the line. But yeah, catch pole here. Is he going to have a run, or is he going to just sit there and try? And he's already got the win in the amateur class. I call it the dev class, or I say amateur class, but the development class.
Is
he going?
Here we go.
Big Sam.
Oh no!
Oh no! They've come together.
Oh,
Smack bang into the wall goes Cross.
maybe an invoice to pay there. I'm not sure if we've got race control in the booth tonight.
I have no idea, Grant. I have no idea. James Catchpole with the big send. They were destined for contact. It blew up in flames on the last lap. Here it is again.
That's not a passing
Here it is
spot.
again. It's not. But he tried to make it work, and he just got into the side of Cross, who will limp it to the line and still get home, but a lot further down the road than what he'd previously intended and banked on. But at the front, it was Greg Favell with a clutch performance and a very commanding drive. Dominant. To take the checkered flag, he led every lap on the way to victory as well. That's a way to make a statement and win a championship, no doubt about that. Damien Cross comes home 6th outright, 5th in the class. James Catchpole, even if they threw a 20-second penalty at him, wouldn't be losing the development split.
No.
Adam Laver, 6th in class. Joe Baldwin, 7th. Pete Matson, 2nd in class in 9th outright. And Nigel Patton, the first of those, a lap down in 10th. Greg Spencer, Dale Sharp, they've already come home. So too Justin Kyler, Marty Mitchell, and Adam Tice, Michael Ladder, 2 laps down. And beyond that, Shane Newens has come back to the checkered flag in 17th spot, rather, and Brett Bradbury behind that in 18th.
Sorry, I'll go back to the...
Parked out in pit lane and out of business, but
Joe,
he will get classified by the... Joe.
Oh, no, he's just
cough,
snaking it up.
cough.
Nice.
A little bit of showmanship from Joe Baldwin. iRacing don't usually like that if you do that before you take the checkered flag. But he'll get away with it because there's no one that's going to throw the book at him at that. Brett Bradbury, 18th home, 3 laps down, but that's fine because at the end of the day, he finished the race in the server and then checked out. So Greg Favell, the winner, in a very dominant display at Le Mans. Schultze's here alongside me, so too Grant Gill. Greg Favell had the fastest lap of the race. Schultze finished with the 356.698 to back up the 356.645. So he wasn't mucking around. He didn't let off the limiter all night long. He had the foot to the throat of Stephen Banks and all of his opposition from the outset and kept it there.
I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, Schultze, go.
No, you're right. Definitely, absolute dominant night for Favell tonight. He was challenged a little bit by Banksy in the first, say, 5 or 10 minutes, but from that time on, he was head down, bum up, and gone, and won by 34.7 seconds. So Very deserving winner and a deserving winner of the championship. I'm looking forward to having a chat with him a little bit later in the post race. But good job there by Matto as well. He had a couple of incidents tonight, but he come home second in the development or the development guide. So I'll jump across to you, Zach, and go through the final standings here for what was round 10, the final round of the GSRC V8 Supercar Series.
We've got Joe Baldwin standing by for a chat as well. Can we just go back on the timing totem poll, Grant, on the SDK to the overall classification, please, just so I can have a look at a couple of things there. But Greg Favell, in the meantime, 35.114 seconds, victorious from Stephen Banks, Peter Pavlovich, and Jason Scholar. James Catchpole in for fifth. We ran just over an hour and 33 in the end. We knew that was going to happen. Biggest movers of the night. 4 positions gained for Lavis, Baldwin and Matson. 6 for Patton and Spencer. So Nigel Patton, the biggest mover in that race, and gets the bonus point accordingly. But Greg Favell will take every other bonus point available to him tonight, and I believe a 0 incident X as well, actually, or maybe not. He might not get a 0X. I'm not sure.
I think I saw a few X's against his name there.
Yeah, if anyone there ends up with a 0X, they get a bonus 10 points.
8 for Greg.
8 for Greg.
But
All right,
thank you, Joe.
live timings.
What about for you, Joe? How many X's ended up next to your name, please?
I think I ended up with
6.
5. Sorry, I picked one up. No, hang on, 4. I did a burnout in the loop after the race.
Correct.
So I actually raced.
Very nicely done from you, Trucker. Hopefully a couple of other drivers join us for a chat here in just a moment. But yeah, we can put the results back up on the screen now, Grant, and just have a look at that. In the end, some big winning margins there. Pete was 3 minutes 25 off the leader. There's the results of the elite split, the development split in just a moment. But Favell from Banks, Pavlovich, Scholar, Cross, Lavis and Baldwin. James Catchpole in fifth outright was the winner of the development split. Here that is for you. Ahead of Pete Matson. And have a look at the margin there between those two. Geez, a minute 50, if you don't mind. And then everybody else a lap or more down. Patton, Spencer, Sharp, Cotter, Mitchell, Tice, Ladder, Bradbury and Newlands. But 18 starters, 18 home. That's not a bad night out. And Joe Baldwin, you were in the thick of all of that. The last elite split home, but 90 minutes around here is no mean feat.
Look, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop being sarcastic about this track. So I'll preface it by saying it's certainly not my favourite track on the service, but it certainly throws up its own challenge. Where I went wrong was early in the race. I was making sure I had my tyres ticked, looked up, and I was at the 100-metre ball, the second chicane, and went.
Oh no!
And once you're out of draft, you're history around here. So I basically floundered around out there for the rest of the race. I think I had three laps maybe with cars around me. The whole rest of the next hour and 21 something was on my own. So it was a really exciting race from my I can tell you. But it was sticking around was just trying to consolidate a top 10 in the championship. I had a couple of rough rounds early, and I've sort of tried to. They're really difficult. They're hard to get right, and I think I've probably improved in my pace, but just not so much in like minimising errors. I guess is probably where I'm letting myself down a little.
Indeed. Stay with us, Trucker. Coming back to you in just a moment. I want to get to Dale Sharp, who's just joined us in the booth here, guys, because unfortunately, Sharpie, you made a rod for your own back very early in the piece, but you recovered okay to finish 12th, mate, and that will be 5th in class, and fingers crossed, touch wood, that's enough to get the job done as far as the championship's concerned, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Yeah, I think I just had to finish. I just had to get to the finish line to wrap up the development series. So, yeah, I was shaking like a leaf at the start of the race and just double tapped the old, the down change and blew it up. But so then from there on in, I pretty much ran on my own and just did my laps, and I probably lost about 4.5 minutes of that little mishap. But
5 minutes 50.
5 minutes 50. Where we go. So to end up where I did, like pretty happy with that, and I think it should be enough.
I think so too, mate. Just having a look at the numbers there and looking at the fact that Greg Spencer was just one position ahead of you in the race, but then also he had 51 drop round points up at his disposal. Sorry, you had 51 at your disposal. Greg had 30. So all that balances out in your favour, quite frankly. So well done on the championship, if I'm right in saying that. Must be a huge relief. But the struggle of going through a 90-minute race like that, where most of it's on your own, it would feel like a glorified free practice run, wouldn't it?
Oh, pretty much. I mean, I think you haven't lived until you're just out there trying to survive for 90 minutes. I mean, we've had a pretty good season. I mean, we've had some good runs. We've had some good luck. We've got some class wins along the way. So, I only just sort of started the season to see how I'd go, to see where I'd land, and it's gone pretty well for us. And I waited until the last round when the series was on the line to balls it up, but luckily we escaped. We got through it.
And I was going to say, the shortcoming for a few of the competitors around you also worked in your favour tonight. Those that force-stopped, those that ran into trouble or incident, or were an innocent bystander who got collected by incidents in Shane Ewan's case. Oh, geez, he had a shocker tonight. It all somewhat worked in your favour, mate.
Well, that did. I mean, the only thing I could hope for is some people have some more bad luck than I had, and it seems that kind of happened. So yeah, I was kind of surprised to catch the tail end of the pack and to pass a couple of cars and get close to the top 10 there. But we after that first couple of laps, we had a good run, so just laid down the lap times, and I went a lap down to Vavel right at the end there. So yeah, we're pretty happy with how we went in the end.
Question for both. I noticed that Shilton's microphone's open, so I want him to jump in and ask you blokes a question in just a moment. Otherwise, we'll let you go. But a question to both Joe and Dale. Joe, I want you to elaborate on what Dale said about the difficulty of going through the motions and playing by yourself in a 90-minute race and how mentally taxing that can be. And Dale, the question for you to counter what Joe says here is, what are you looking forward to most about getting back in the Supercar next season, and wherever it falls in the schedule or whatever it entails, what are you looking forward to most about coming back and defending that trophy? Joe, you first.
When you get a race that long by yourself, I was kind of lucky. I had Pete Madsen and Adam Maverick in the Discord with me, so we got to chat back and forwards, and Adam and I were trying to be competitive with each other a little bit, just watching lap times, and you've improved here, I've improved there. So whilst you're out there on your own, when you're in Discord with some teammates and stuff, it breaks that boredom. I think if I had been in here without anyone to talk for the whole race, I probably would have old F4'd myself to bed. It's especially around a place like this, and about the only racetrack, for mine around here is Porsche curves up to start-finish line. The rest of it's all point and shoot, boring sort of stuff, but I'm still nowhere near as fast as what some of them other guys up front there were. I haven't done any laps here. It's just not a place I enjoy going, but it was on the schedule, so we made the most of a bad situation, I guess.
Dale, what are you most looking forward to about championship defence, mate, in whatever guys we see the Supercars back next season?
I'm not sure how it's going to look. I'd imagine I'll probably get put into elite. I'm not sure. That'll be up to Adam, I guess. So, I'm not sure how it works. I mean, this is the hardest car to drive on the platform, in my opinion, and I wasn't a fan of it, but throughout the season, I have kind of fallen back in love with it again. I've enjoyed the challenge of it, so just watching the screen here, I think that's where I blew it up.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But yeah, I mean, it's amazing the difference of opinions. I mean, I quite enjoy this track. It's a large, huge track, but it's not overly challenging. There's not a whole lot, for a 13 point whatever kilometer track. There's not a whole lot to learn about it. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a mental game, you know, when you're out there on your own and just running a lap, looking for brake markers. And I was using a shadow as my brake marker into turn 1 there, and then the sun must have gone under. Sun must have gone under a cloud at one point, and I overshot the corner. So rule number 1: use a track marker.
Yeah, you'll see that in just about every video that they talk about on braking. But that's funny to hear you say so. Oh, dear me.
Did you have a double downshift, did you, when you blew the engine at the end of lap 1, did you?
Yeah, I had Adam Lavis behind me, and just as we were, you know, just as you go around that bend into turn 1, you know, and you change down a gear, and I was just nerves were getting to me, and just sort of double clicked the downshift, and she screamed in 3rd gear and went bang, and that was it. I think Sam Chapman did the same thing on Monday night with his pit limiter. So my consequence a bit more detrimental, but.
Joe, do we see you back in a supercar next season, my friend?
I would have to say, at the moment, no, may not line up. But without giving anything away, I unfortunately would have to say you probably won't. As much as the
very nicely put.
The supercars, there's where I was looking to make sure my tyres were checked. I went straight across that chicane. It was like a 4-second slowdown.
And there you go, straight across the gravel. They obviously haven't fixed all the gravel traps because it didn't look like you lost too much speed there at all, Joe.
I didn't. No, I had to slow down up here around the corner, and everyone just went choo-choo on by. But
bye-bye. See ya.
But no, it's the schedule for next season. Exciting with some of the changes. Obviously, we'll have a good chat about it all tomorrow night. But I would have to say I'm probably not going to make the Supercars next season. I will say that the daylight saving thing may have an That's about it.
So we're
don't
thinking
feed me straight lines this late into the night, Joe.
we're thinking it's the early car one of the nights of the week.
Oh, well, you
no
can
further
think that
comment,
as well.
Ron.
No further comment yet. Can neither confirm nor deny. We'll
Tomorrow-
chat about it tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night about this time, we reveal the slate of A, races on offer, championships on offer, and B, broadcast nights that will be with you on the platforms of the GSRC for Term 4 or Season 15 of the club, Term 4 of 2023.
Pete Matson dropped a big spoiler. So one of our eagle-eyed supporters noticed a server set up for the GT1s.
Yes.
Which apparently Pete has gone off a little prematurely, should we say. And there was a lot of
He's somewhat
excitement
very
for it as
excited
well.
about that potential.
That's what she said.
And of course,
Yes.
GT, that's always at perfectly the right time, isn't it? GT1 tomorrow night for the production cars. That'll be a nice little intro to it.
Teaser.
Yeah,
Teaser,
around
yeah.
Bathurst. My goodness me, what a handful.
Oh, what an initiation. We've done some stuff there before, the GT1's Mountain Men. I remember that. We broadcast that race, actually.
Yes.
Schultze, have you got any questions for Dale Sharp or Joe Baldwin before I release them into the wild for the night?
Yeah, nothing really. Just as interesting to hear Dale saying he was so nervous coming into the race, even though being up on points so much and blew the motor, which was unfortunate. But, mate, from watching you come back and being able to even get back up to 12th was a good drive, mate. So, from me personally, congratulations on your championship, first and foremost. But to be able to keep trucking around there and, pardon the pun, and get out there and get up into 12th position, and you said you hadn't really driven the supercar and come in and mate, you dominated, so big congratulations.
Thanks for that, mate. I appreciate it. But yeah, round one went out there and I was really struggling, you know, to get traction in the car, and then I was following some of the elite guys and watching them fishtail out of the corners, and I'm like, well, it looks like no one can drive these things anyway. So you know, I stuck at it, you know, and and just got more comfortable in the car as the season went on, and yeah, you know, I mean, to land it back in 12th, you know, you sort of kick yourself a little bit to where I could have been to if I didn't make the mistake. But that's racing, mate. You live, you learn.
Perseverance It's a big key to all of it here, Sharpie. No doubt about that. You did persevere with it tonight, and you reap the rewards and benefits as a result of that, mate. So well done to you. Just at this point in time, memo to you, Mr. Gill.
Yes.
That we won't see any updates to those points tonight. I wouldn't imagine.
No, Adam's
only
got a
because
very early start.
Adam Lavis has gone Betty by. So, I mean, it's nice to give everybody a representation of what was going on before the round, but we won't be able to give everybody the full breakdown of how it all played out tonight. And I wasn't sure if you were aware of that in the same way that I was, but you were, so that's okay. Now,
coming in here.
very good. Copy that. Thank you. I saw it 3 times, and I'm hoping for the same thing you are. But no, Adam Lavis is definitely not punching those numbers tonight.
No, he made
now,
that pretty close.
exactly. Joe, we'll catch up with you tomorrow night, and we'll talk more about what awaits in term 4, and looking forward to that immensely. Sharpie, been a good week for you, so nice to see you finishing on a high there. Do we see you go round tomorrow night, or are you parked up and watching on from the sideline, please?
You will see me tomorrow night, but in something a bit different. I've got a dinner booked, so I won't be in the production cars, but I might drag the Porsche out the back of the garage for something different to finish the season.
Why not? And given that it's Phillip Island, I don't doubt that there'll be a few others thinking exactly along those same lines as you, Sharpie. Good on you, mate. Hey, go well for the rest of the night. Thanks for stopping on by, and well done.
Cheers, mate.
And Trucker, we'll let you go at this point in time as well, mate. We know you'll probably have an early start, so thank you. Nicely done as always. Nice recovery in the end, and look forward to catching up tomorrow night.
Thank you, boys. See you then. Bye.
Cheers, Joe.
To Stephen Banks and Greg Favell we go, the last 2 standing, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. And I mean that in every sense of the word, because they were 1 and 2 across the line. And given the absence of Anthony Visma tonight, God only knows why, we're looking at 1 and 2 in the championship as well. And it hinged on this race, didn't it, Stephen Banks? And unfortunately, Greg just got further and further away to the point where he could no longer see you in the rearview mirror. But you did everything you could do tonight by bringing it home in second place and hoping for the best. Unfortunately, Greg just had everybody's measure tonight.
Yeah, no, well done to Greg. It was definitely way too quick for all of us. I thought I might have, my best chance was just to try and get in his toe, and I had some pretty low wing happening, so I was just trying to hold on to him, and unfortunately after the first lap I got to slow down, and that destroyed that plan. And then, yeah, just a few little mistakes here and there, a couple of slowdowns, and just saw him drive away. But I kind of always knew he was going to be too quick. He's a very good driver, so just happy to, I don't know, I can't say I was happy to just have a good race, because it was a bit boring out there, to be honest. Just
well, you made the same observation we did, mate. Can I ask you the same question that I asked the other boys? How do you mentally maintain that sort of level of concentration, that level of intensity, and for lack of better words, interest as well, when it's a 90-minute race, but for the most part, it's a procession. You've got no one to play with. You were well clear of third. Greg was itching further and further away as the night went on. How do you just sit there and go through the motions in a glorified practice run?
Yeah, it's not the most fun. It's not that easy either, but I made a few mistakes just because just had brain farts and just kind of went into dreamland. But yeah, it's just one of those races. I was at the start, it wasn't too bad. You kind of had targets and you're trying to hit certain numbers and whatnot. But then as the race went on, and the distance between me and Greg was fairly big, and then the distance between me and behind was fairly big. It was pretty much, it didn't really matter what happened. I just had to keep it on the track. So we caught some lap cars near the end of the race, and then I kind of picked my lap times up again, because kind of had something to race for and targets to catch and things like that. So yeah, the middle part of the race was definitely a struggle, but it was just one of those races. Unfortunately, I was really hoping Anthony could make it, because we've been having some really fun battles throughout the season, and then also Simon Vella in our team, he couldn't make it tonight. So yeah, unfortunately it was just me and Greg rather than 4 or 5 of us kind of having a battle. But anyway, it was a good night, and all worked out well in the end.
all worked out very well in the end. Holden leads Ford home. I mean, as a Ford man originally at heart, I have to say, it would have been nice to see you get the better of Greg tonight. But as you say, he was just too good in the end. And it matters very little in the virtual world what manufacturer you're running anyway. But in saying all of that, this circuit, Le Mans, these cars, are they a good combination or not?
Oh, he's gotten very quiet.
Yeah, I was going to say, have we lost you, Banksy?
Little moment.
Can't hear him at the moment. He's just dropped out there. We hope that Stephen will come back to us. In the meantime, Greg, take up the freight, mate. Congratulations on the win. Congratulations on the championship. That was clinical and comprehensive tonight.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed. I was baiting the teammate Anthony Visma all day, saying you're going to crack under pressure, and he's gone MIA. He didn't turn up.
Well, he cracked early.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I quite enjoyed running around Le Mans, so had a bit of fun tonight.
And did you have no idea why Anthony didn't come along?
I've been messaging him. I messaged him all the way up to the start of the race. Where are you? And I still haven't heard a response yet. So
hope all is well with Anthony.
Yeah, you never know. So
if I drop out in the next short while, gentlemen, it's only because, there's a southeast Queensland traditional spring thunderstorm lurking above the house.
I'm getting the same thing, mate. I'm getting the same thing.
I was going to say, we're about to lose you, actually, Schultzy, for reasons that we went into at the start of the night. You've got an early start tomorrow morning, mate. Thanks for stopping on by and having a chat to us. We've just lost Banksy. I'm not sure what's going on there. It's just Greg, Grant and I left. It's the last three stooges standing. But Schultzy, before we let you go, so some quick thoughts and synopsis of the night that was, and who are you tipping your hat to as the driver of the night?
Mate, driver of the night has to be Greg, of course. Coming into the round, obviously there was a couple of drivers missing tonight, which would have been interesting from a championship standpoint, but Greg, great drive tonight, mate. Absolutely class above. Dominated, mate. It was great to call, and good to be back in the booth, or like with GSRC. I've never been in the booth with GSRC, but mate, big congratulations. It's a pleasure to call, and just congratulations on your championship, mate. It was a really good drive all season, and mate, I tell you what, I wish I could be half as quick as you, but well done, mate.
Nah, thanks. I've actually been out of the V8 for a while now, so I've just used this season. I missed the first round, but to get back into the V8, and I think I've just spent a bit more time on it.
Well, mate, you're making me feel even worse about myself. But anyway, congratulations, Greg, boys. I'm going to have to go. There's a big storm coming over. I've got to start work early, but thanks for allowing me in the booth, and hopefully I can come back shortly and do some commentary.
Look, you're welcome back anytime you like, Schultzy. But firstly, great to have your company. Great to work alongside you again. It's been a while since we've teamed up. We have done that before, but on other platforms, as you alluded to. Well called. Good luck with work tomorrow. Good luck sleeping in the thunder. And we will. We do believe that there might be an avenue in which you'll be joining us on a somewhat more regular basis, semi-regular basis next season for our coverage on the platforms of the GSRC, and we're looking forward to that, mate. Thanks for that.
Yeah, most definitely. There's stuff in the works there, and that will all come out in the wash. But looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting behind the mic a little bit more often, although it's going to take away from the driving part. But looking forward to that.
See you on the track tomorrow night, though. Let's not muck around there. We'll see you on the track tomorrow night.
You won't, actually.
Oh, no? Okay.
No, you won't. Date night tomorrow night.
Date night. Ooh.
Date night. Yeah, don't know his name yet. But,
right.
No. Date night tomorrow night, and getting ready to do the iRacing Bathurst 1000 on the weekend. So, doing that, but I'll see you back on track on, well, actually we're going to be a couple of weeks off now, but I'm in the background also, trying to sort out a series with Mr. Ben Woods. So we're off doing that, and you'll hear more about that shortly. But Thanks for a good night, boys, and I will talk to you shortly.
Thanks,
There he
Aiden.
is, Aidan Schultz. And I just wanted on the record too, Grant, as he departs the building, that he threw himself under the bus there with his own self-deprecating humour. We didn't do it. He did. And we'll find out what his name is in due course. Thanks, Aidan.
Fred.
Not that there's anything wrong with that sort of thing.
No.
As Seinfeld famously said.
Although that being said, I shouldn't joke. He's doing better than me.
Good night, gentlemen.
To have a date night, not through like a trying on my part, but I won't go into that at this time of the night on air. I don't want to bore young Stephen or Greg to death here with my strike rate, as poor as it is. Stephen, we've got you back now. We were partway through asking you the question. What do you make of Supercars and Circuit de la Sarthe as a combination? Is it one we should revisit or one we should ditch?
Yeah, apologies for that. Computer
that's
decided
fine.
it was a good time to do a restart, so
computer-
probably was after the race, not during, but anyway. As far as this track's concerned, look, I actually really enjoyed it in this car. Obviously, it was a little bit disappointing we didn't get the numbers that we have been for most of the season. So the battles on track kind of weren't the same. So if we had the numbers that we normally had for all the other rounds, I think this would have been a great track. I'd really enjoy driving the car on it, and the different aspect of the toe up the straight and how you set up the car and just how you know, your tactics and how you approach it. I think it's a really, really good fun track to drive.
And that's the point as well, isn't it, Grant? We mentioned it at the start. 18 cars around a 13.5 kilometre circuit. It always leaned towards potentially being somewhat processional, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's but that's what endurance races are. We've heard everyone say that it was a challenge to stay on your game, to keep your focus and continue on, and that's exactly what an endurance race is. It's the survival of the fittest and the strongest who can keep their focus and not run through too many gravel traps or hit a wall or just lock up a brake and clip another driver. And so a very different discipline to your 20 or your 40s or your 60-minute races, but the boys did a wonderful job, and the cars look great going around there. I don't think we'll ever see it in real life, maybe one day, but they certainly look good out there.
All right, very nicely done. Greg, let's come back to you. 6 lap stints, and by virtue of being just under that 4-minute threshold, you dragged the field to 23 laps. There might have been a few people not quite happy about that. There were a couple that were running on the smell of an oily rag at the end of that 4th stint, but at the end of the day, you got a race to the clock, and you did that tonight, and you got back to the line and got given an extra lap for your pace and for your reward. And any lap around here is a good lap, but this circuit, these cars, again, I think Stephen hit the nail on the head. A few more in the server would have helped.
Oh, 100%. If Anthony Visma turned up, would have been a lot better too. So, yeah, I calculated about 23 laps before the start of the race, but my maths is not that good. So, yeah,
you blokes and your maths isn't that good, and you always get it right.
Mine's not. Mine's not great, I must say. No.
But I knew I had a fuel save for the first 3 stints, so
yeah,
I was doing a lot of fuel saving for the first 3 stints, and then I was able to start to push in the last stint there.
So that actually raises a good point, Grant, and I want it actually on the record that I have it from a neurosurgeon who is no longer operating because he's ancient in age terms, but I had it on record from him that maths wasn't my strong suit. So whether he was right or wrong, I have it as a medical backup to anyone that wants to pick a fight about it from me. In saying all of that though, hey, they're allowed to be wrong occasionally.
Not when they're operating on your brain.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
No, he's allowed to be wrong in the side effects. He's just not allowed to be wrong when he's drilling the hole. Yeah, correct. In saying all of that, though, Greg, you made an interesting point there about fuel saving. It's a bloody tough slog to save around here, but just how much were you having to try and save to eke it out the 6 lap stints, mate?
I just had that up. I think I was saving, I'll tell you right now, nearly a litre at a lap.
And what was the if you're going full beans, what was the fuel burn per lap?
So my fuel burn per lap was 10.2 if I was into it.
Yep.
And I was averaging, I think, 9.3.
Yeah,
roughly.
So it would have been a litre a lap. It was only 6 lap stints, so it would have been absolutely impossible to get an extra lap out of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In saying that, though, it was the fuel saving that was the difference in the end. There were a few people that got caught short and had to commit to a 4-stop strategy, and that's a big invoice around here. I mean, the boys were saying earlier that you made a run for your own back if you lost the tow at any point, but if you lose 44 seconds, even more so.
Yeah. So that I actually put my fuel calculator was saying I only put 55 litres in the end, but I ended up putting a bit more in. Filled it up.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the
Why
stats
not?
here. A pit stop was between a minute and a minute, around a minute 5 or so. So, like you say, very long penalty, even if you don't speed on the way in or do anything silly. But
Yeah.
I must say, with it being such a long lap, I made sure I put a little bit extra into it at the end. It's like, I don't want to get caught.
Especially if Greg goes another lap.
Well, I kind of knew that was the
around here.
option, just looking at the numbers and trying to rough it in the head. And I didn't know if I was right or not, but it all seemed like it was around that 10 seconds either side of the lap, like plus or minus my bad maths. And so be it. Yeah, you did it. You got that extra lap, so that was cool.
I wasn't even looking at the time to go. I was just watching my lap times, just trying to keep myself focused.
I had teammates bugging me going, do you reckon it's going to be an extra lap? What's going on, Banksy? Is the white flag out yet? And I'm like, mate, if I can't see the white flag, you can't. So,
That's true.
yeah.
Oh, well, that being said, I was up that little prick for the rent too because I couldn't see the white flag either, boys. So that's, I mean, Barney must have been buried in the crowd somewhere around the back of the circuit because he wasn't because his mate Fred, right, if you got the reference, Barney and Fred and Barney, Fred was actually standing in the platform tonight and not waving the flag at all. So, I'm not sure. Barney's knocked off early.
He's off getting some pomp frites.
Don't worry. Yeah, exactly. Don't worry about the bloody gravel traps. Maybe just ensure Barney's doing his bloody job when you're next to an update iRacing. My goodness gracious me. Boys, what are we looking forward to with regards? I mean, we'll put a full stop on this because there's not really too much to ask you blokes about tonight because of how straightforward the 90 minutes was for you both. But in saying all of that, when we look towards next season, what are you most looking forward to? And what are you least looking forward to? What tracks do you want to see on a Supercars calendar? What tracks don't you want to see on a Supercars calendar?
I actually don't mind. I'm happy to race any track. Like I said, I've got to get a bit more practice in the V8 to get the consistency back, and I'll probably use next season to do that. So I'm happy to race any track.
And just quickly before Stephen jumps in, Greg,
Except for Winton and Sandown.
Yeah, okay, copy that. Well, I'll go toe to toe with you on Winton. No doubt about that. And I'm up Winton for the rent in the real world at the moment, but that's another story that we'll go off air with. Dear. In saying that, though, Greg, I guess the other thing to elaborate on that is you're also honing your craft in some of the other leagues and some of the other club championships that we've got going here as well, mate.
I was until recently, and I've come to the realisation that if you're going to race the V8, you've got to race the V8.
Yeah,
okay.
we've heard that said, and you have to race it a lot if you're going to be quick.
Yeah, and I think I'll still try and do a few other series, but I'll have to sort of carve down a bit and just get back into, because I've been injured and had a few health problems, so I haven't done much in the V8 for a while now, so now I'm feeling good. I want to get back into it, so look forward to it.
Good man, glad to hear it. And hello, Neil Gladwin. Just popped up at the top of the page. Player One Sims Sim Gear.
Having a view of the broadcast late in the piece, probably not used to the novelty of us being back on air on a Wednesday night. It used to be standard procedure
Every
to
night of the
SRC
week.
on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. Did you hear the rumbling of thunder just then, gentlemen? If you lose me, that's why. But yes, a late night thunderstorm, southeast Queensland delivering the goods again.
in New South Wales, and we don't have to worry about daylight saving. Like,
Oh, jeez, did you have to go there?
Thanksy. Thanksy. It's too late in the evening to start feeding me straight lines. But in saying all of that, mate, same question I asked Greg to you with regards to next season. What tracks do you want to see? What tracks don't you want to see as far as the supercars are concerned? And what are you trying your hand at beyond the supercars?
As far as the tracks are concerned, I like how they do the schedule. It tends to be a little bit different to other schedules, so it's, I just enjoy having something different to do during the week rather than it all being focused on whatever that official track is for the week.
Yep.
So I enjoy the way they do it, the way they set up the season.
That's actually not a bad point you make, because it'd become a little bit monotonous, wouldn't it? Just if you're doing, 2 or 3 leagues and they're all running the same schedule, it'd become a little bit repetitive and a little bit stale, wouldn't it?
Yeah, totally. Like Bathurst this week, you never really get stale of Bathurst, but
No, true.
just about every kind of league or thing that you're doing is a Bathurst race in the next week or two. So, you get other tracks during the season that I think Oschersleben was a bit like that at one stage of the year. So I just enjoy the, that bit of difference and something. Yeah, just like how it breaks it all up.
And further to your point, I'm really glad that I'm getting out of the state on Monday and not coming back until November 7. At this stage, I'm achieving what I've set out to do, which is spend at least a third, if not more, of the upcoming 27-week, 112-year gap in society between Queensland and New South Wales in progressive civilisation in New South Wales. I'm ticking that box. I'm even spending a little bit of time over on the West Coast where the time difference actually makes sense. So, no, I'm looking forward to that.
Very nice. 27 weeks, that should almost give you an extra day of daylight compared to Queensland.
Oh,
Well-
what about the curtains?
The curtains can get stuffed, Grant.
What
But
about the
in saying
cows?
all that, yeah, and they can too. I mean, they're only good on a plate, medium rare or well done. So anyway, where were we? Sorry,
We were just wrapping up, I think, Zach.
we're about to wrap up. If there's one track that isn't currently yet on iRacing, what is, that you'd like to see on there, boys? What is it before we go?
I'd like to see Sydney Motorsport Park.
Yep.
That was exactly what my answer was.
Yeah, for the V8s, I think it's a perfect track.
Perfect.
I love SMP. I absolutely love
Especially when
SMP.
they
And it's
bring
got a
in some
few
rain.
variations to the track, which is fantastic as well for the different classes. So, I'd SMSP all the way.
100%. And I've seen Formula V racing around there and Hyundai XL racing as well. Definitely SMP. And if there's one car that iRacing don't have on the server yet that I'd like to see, it's the Hyundai XL. Gentlemen, that's where we'll put a full stop on this because I'm just looking at the clock. It's beyond 11.
Yes.
We've all got lives to live and places to be and people to see. Thank you. Well done. Congratulations on 1 and 2 tonight and 1 and 2 in the championship as well.
Thanks, fellas.
Good on you,
Thanks,
boys.
guys, and well done.
There's a story about Winton that I'll take offline, but it'll be online by next Monday, I promise you. Let's thank the people that make it possible for us to do what we do here each Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. Grant Gill, we start with Waste Options,
I must apologise to Pete. I haven't updated my sponsor list.
Orbic Australia, Blackout Electrical Solutions, Login Systems, of course, Astute Finance, Insurance and Wealth in East Brisbane, the great people at Fisher and Door Lawyers, and also Flash Graphics. Very nicely done. Let's have a look at what's coming your way on the platforms of the GSRC.
What about if we just have a quick look at the
Ooh,
Formula
there
Ford
we go.
final, and we won't worry
Yeah,
about
now-
the production car challenge at the top there.
Look, we apologise. We apologise
Yes,
to our Formula
profusely.
Ford mates because, see, the same issues that Stephen Banks was having at the end of the night, Grant was having at the start of the night, with technology not wanting to play ball. So, in the end, well done to Stuart Ellis, Adam Lavis and Brett Barker, who were the top
Close.
three home there in that championship. Very close,
There
very
may-
close.
there
I'm
may
lucky.
be-
Adam Lavis, the bridesmaid again.
Maybe some bonuses that need to be applied to that. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But I'd
Honey
say
Baker and
it's
Guylich beyond that.
Yep. Another interesting thing before we do the others is I had a quick look through, and James Catchpole doesn't seem to have raced at all this season. So he's to be classified, and as such, if that's correct, and we look at the dev split, because
Yes, mate.
when you when
Yep.
you look at it, the top two boys, their best laps were 3:56.64. Stephen Banks 3:57.84.
Yep.
Scholar did a 59.95 and Catchpole did a 59.17. So I reckon he might be popping straight into the elites, which would make
That's true.
Pete
Pistol
Madsen
Pete.
very, very possibly. But we'll
boy.
have to wait and see.
That's exciting. That is exciting.
All right.
And we'll let you know what that means for the points once Adam Lavis has calculated them tomorrow as well. We'll make sure we get those results up tomorrow night and out to everybody. Let's have a look at what's coming your way on the platforms of the GSRC,
Yeah.
across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube one last time.
Here we go.
A rare Wednesday night treat for you, and we're back tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, God. I look at some of those dates, and I'm not looking forward to tomorrow night. Production Car Challenge, Bathurst, the Aston D89. That's, of course, GT1 territory. 2 sprint races there. Championship on the line. And will it be Chris or Brendan Whitaker? We'll find out tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Daniel Correa-Sar will be with me for that. We then move to the Porsches from Phillip Island in the Super Sprint format. 3 races there. Again, we'll be wrapping up around this time tomorrow night when we crown the champion. Matty Dench has got the title, but all the minor placings and the open split are all still up for grabs and there for the taking. We'll bring it to you live right around Australia Eastern Standard Time, 8:45. That race gets underway. And then, of course, Friday night, I'm not doing anything on Friday. Tools down Friday. I want to have that day to myself and enjoy it for reasons that I won't go into. Chicago Street Circuit, Formula 3s, 8:15 Australian Eastern Standard Time. 2 races there, the second of which is a full reverse grid, an invert of the field. And that's, Chicago Street Circuit, not a bad circuit, and one that we all enjoyed watching some real-world motorsport on with Shane Van Gisbergen / Wallace earlier in the season.
Can you say that?
No, I think I just did.
Oh,
It doesn't matter. I just did. Friday night. So that's not broadcast, of course. Mountain Men Saturday night, also not broadcast. It's Bathurst. It's the Lotus 79s. It's not like it's a big secret anymore, Grant. And if you're joining Joe Baldwin and the team there for that, that's 8:30 Eastern for you. Race start. And then Term 4 starts up. Season 15 of the GSRC. Yes, an historic Season 15. Wow. Starts up Monday, September 25. In the meantime, if you want to purchase some merch, there's the way to do it. merch.tgsrci.com or gsrcmerch.myshopify.com. It'll take you to the same place. GSRC GT3 Endurance Championship comes up a little bit later on in the month. Who the bloody hell knows what's going on with that at the moment? And they've shuffled the calendar around a bit. We'll try and get some
We've lost him. No, they're all old ones. The Storm has got Zach, and that's unusual that it's gone to there. Everything's indicating that it's just about time to say goodnight. So, as we did thank all the sponsors, are you back, Zach? No. So we did thank all our sponsors and everyone who's been involved in the course of the evening and the course of the season. We'll wrap it up now and say goodnight to you all, and look forward to having your company tomorrow night when Daniel Correa-Sar will bring us the production cars and the Porsche Cup. So from Zach and Aidan Schultz and everyone else who's been part of the broadcast tonight, thank you very much. And we thank you for watching and look forward to having your company again real soon. Good night.